It is pointless to resist, my son.
Folks, welcome to World Class Bullshitters on a Tuesday night here on the channel called World Class Bullshitters. Redundancy aside, I'm your host, Jeff Hicks, and tonight, folks, we have an awesome, fun show for you guys, so sit back, relax, and listen. But don't get too comfortable, because we don't want you to fall asleep. It is 9 o'clock on the East Coast. But I am not alone. Tonight, I am joined by my two kick-ass co-hosts. First off, all the way from the Rippaverse, you know him, you love him, say hello to Andy Andrew.
What is going on, Jeff? What is going on, chat? It is great to be back. We had a little bit of a hiatus there, but I am thrilled to be back here on the best show on a Tuesday night. We got some fun topics for y'all. We got a lot of stuff happening right now in entertainment, some good, some bad, some meh. Should be a good show.
But all of it is world class, my friend. Because
when we talk about it, it is.
It's true. When we talk about it, it is world class, but it gets even classier when our friend from the Great White North shows up. Say hello to the Script Doctor.
Hey, everybody. I am really thirsty for a Cerveza Crystal right now. I just don't know what it is. Just kind of popped in there.
You know, I'm so thirsty, I could go for another one right now.
You don't believe in the Force, do you?
I've seen a lot of strange stuff, but I've never seen anything to make me believe there's one all-powerful force controlling everything.
All right, I'm drinking a beer, so I'm really excited about that button. But, folks, welcome in. It is Tuesday. We were not here last week because Nick and I were in Astoria, Oregon for the Goonies. We went to the filming locations. We went to the house. We went to the beach. We went to the prison. You name it, we saw it if it was in Astoria, Oregon. We even went out many hours to Bend, Oregon to see the last blockbuster, as well as the hotel from The Shining. And guess what? We went inside. So, folks, that is just a preview of all the stuff that's going to be coming to you on Patreon, as well as other bonus content in the coming days. But check out next week, WCBS on Patreon, for the Goonies and the blockbuster the week after that. Because, folks, we got a lot of fun stuff, and, well, we want to keep it world class and keep you entertained this summer. Now, tonight's show isn't going to be that different, beyond the fact that there's a lot of shit going on in the world right now, guys. If you just open your phones, every 5 seconds there's some crazy news. There's war, there's this, there's that. So tonight we want to offer you a place to have fun, to relax, have a beer, hang out with us. So, since we last met Andrew, Script and I actually were on the podcast last week because we were talking about... Shit, what do we talk about, Script? You remember?
Well, we were making a lot of jokes about weird stuff. It's a little fading away from me. I apologize. I'm 40 years old. I'm old.
I'm almost there too, so don't apologize too hard to me.
But
I'm scared.
Gosh, we were talking about a lot of various weird stuff, various movie references, things we liked, didn't like.
I could just always look it back up on my computer.
Yeah,
it's not like I have everything here.
Yeah.
We talked about Spaceballs 2. That's what it was.
Spaceballs 2.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that got officially confirmed. That's right.
The search for more money.
Yeah.
Yep. Folks, if you want to hear what we had to say about Spaceballs, the sequel, go over to the channel backlog and check out the podcast and the video I made. Also, folks, we have a new video that dropped today and a video on He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. When He-Man's taking Ozempic because he looks scrawny, but that's really not the point of the video. So check that out after tonight's podcast. But tonight, we have a bunch of topics to discuss. We're going to be talking about trailers. We're going to be talking about bad merch, good merch. We might even talk a little gaming, because there's apparently another home console coming from Microsoft. So if we have time at the end of the show, or if you guys want us to hit that, we will. But let's start out with the word of the day from our friend Shrebbles08. The word of the day is quack. Super quack. Debbie does quack. Not on this channel, she doesn't. Live free or quack hard. Quackbusters. A fistful of quack, and Freddy got quacked. That's better than getting fingered.
Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Quack.
Yeah. Highlander 2, The Quackening.
Here's an obscure one. The Seven Magnificent Quacks.
Wow.
It's from an Italian version of the Seven Magnificent Gladiators.
That's quite impressive,
Lou
actually.
Ferrigno movie.
Oh, Lou Ferrigno's the man. I met him once. He was very nice.
He is. Let's see.
The quack job, or the quackian job.
Oh,
About that.
Quack to School.
Ah,
How did we miss this one? Quack to the Future.
There you go.
oh yeah,
Great Scott, we almost fucked that one up.
we're a quack.
A dinosaur story?
Yeah.
That's a good deep cut. Every time I say the phrase "we're back," in my head I go, "A dinosaur story." And I've only seen that movie once, but it was in the ad of every comic book I read as a kid.
Dude,
And
I loved that movie as a kid.
isn't John Goodman the T-Rex?
I think so, yeah. And he sings that catchy ass song too.
Yeah, we had it good in the 90s.
Yeah, we
They're
did.
thinking of a dinosaur film, Theodore Quack.
Oh, ew, with Quacky Goldberg?
Yeah, with Quacky Goldberg.
I can't believe we had to sit through her movies as a kid. I saw Sister Act in theaters. Ugh, thanks, Grandma. No, but let's see. What's a good one? Dragon Ball Quack.
All right.
Quack.
Full Metal Quackamist.
Well, our friend Jose Membrane says you guys need to stop quacking around. Well, you're right, Jose. We're going to keep our quackers to ourselves. But, folks, you keep quacking all night
If
long.
it fits the bill.
Yeah. Oh, boo.
There you go.
Dad Jokes, the animated series. That's what we're going to call this podcast from now on.
Thank you for quacking. All right.
Yeah. I don't have an off switch. I don't know what you want from me.
That's okay. Our friend John Thomas, member for 4 months, thank you, John Thomas, says, all hail. So I heard a description of a horror movie, but didn't catch the name, about COVID Karens getting what they deserve. I want to watch
Quarantine?
That sounds interesting.
it. Quarantine?
Quarantine.
Quarantine. Now that's a comic.
I'm writing it down.
That's a
'Cause
rabid
there is a
Karens.
film series called Karen. I think they got up to 2 right now. 2 films.
Is there?
Yeah. And she is a Karen.
Who is the most
I believe
Karen actor out there? Like when you look at what actress makes you go, ooh, that's a Karen right there. I guarantee it. Folks in the chat, let us know. Is it Jennifer Coolidge? Is it Julia Roberts? Is it J-Lo? I'm getting the feeling that J-Lo is secretly a big old Karen with a
Yeah,
never
J-Lo's
mind.
a Karen.
Maybe that's why freaking Affleck looks so freaking stressed all the time.
Well, I mean, it's a Karen with a butt that won't quit, so it really is tempting. It's like as long as you turn her around, you're okay. But every time she goes to talk to you, you're like, oh, now I remember why I divorced you.
Get some duct tape there. You
Yeah.
know?
Is that another Quack reference?
Silence is golden, but duct tape is silver.
That's
Yes. Yes. I specifically said duck instead of duct.
true. Well, we could do
shut
silver
the
and
F
gold like the Christmas song. I saw a video with Tommy Davidson talking about what a Karen J-Lo is, and I was like, oof. Well, my perception of her went way down. Let's see. We got Mark Ruffalo, Gwyneth Paltrow in the chat. Gwyneth Paltrow is definitely a Karen.
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer Lawrence, she's like a young Karen. Well, she's not that young anymore.
Jennifer
She's like
Lawrence?
my age.
No, Jennifer Lawrence isn't a. Okay, come on. Jennifer Lawrence is more of a bro than a Karen.
I mean, I don't know her, but she's the first action star in history.
Yes,
So
she was that. Yeah. I'm just saying,
I-
like, in interviews and everything, she acts like, I don't know, just she's not afraid to act goof. She comes across as the last person to be a Karen. Now, maybe that's just an act, and maybe, like, in person, if you were to go to a restaurant and somebody goofs up the order by 1% or something like that, she flips out and loses her mind. Okay, well, all right, well, no, she's a Karen. But I've never seen anything that makes me think Karen when I see J-Law.
you have a crush on Jennifer Lawrence. Is that it?
No, actually, I think she's just
she's-
okay.
she's
Same.
charming, but she's She's
Her personality in interviews is more entertaining and charming than I find her visually attractive.
well, I mean, she has criticized some journalists for not speaking English when she was in in a foreign country. That was funny.
Yeah, she's like, put your phone down. Put your phone down. And he's like,
they're
I
reading a
don't-
translation
Yeah.
so they can get the quote.
I guess, patience doesn't come with fame. But I don't even know how we got on that topic. Anyway, Karen's theme of tonight's show, right? No, not at all. So, since we've last met, we've been talking about a movie for a while, and now another trailer has dropped. And I know, Andrew, you brought this up in the private chat earlier. I saw the Superman trailer. It looks cool. I'm still on board. Not really much has changed for me. Anything with you guys?
I'm still looking forward to it. Honestly, like I'm one way or the other. I was going to see this movie and enjoy at least a portion of it by way of crypto.
Currency or the dog?
The dog.
Oh.
Crypto, the super
cooler.
dog.
Yeah,
It'd
the
be a lot
dog
cooler
has
if it was
more value than
cryptocurrency.
actual crypto. I mean,
It's true. Haktua coin is worth less than the CGI hair on that dog.
pretty much. I will say this: I did like the nod to the Fleischer cartoons with Superman holding that building up above the lady in the car, because that's from the first one, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, the death ray or whatever.
Yeah, for the mad scientist, right? Yeah. That's the one.
When he punches, that's my favorite rendition of Superman, the Fleischer cartoon, because it's quick, it doesn't really ever slow down, and it's got a great theme song.
Lois fires a Tommy gun in that.
I like it because it's art. I know that sounds super nerdy, but it's such a really cool early example of detailed animation, to the point where we've gone backwards in many ways.
Well, the animation holds up really well.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Like really, really well. Like Renaissance Disney well.
Yeah, because the Fleischer Studio was of that era. We're talking rotoscoping. The amount of effort that went into those shorts is ridiculous for the time. The painted backgrounds, the detailed characters, the voice acting. Like, remember, folks, old cartoons like this weren't meant for TV. They were meant for theatrical presentation before a feature. So you'd go and you'd see, during the war, you might see World War II clips like they showed Captain America, and then they would show cartoons, and then they would show a film. So you got a whole... Nowadays, you get 30 minutes of commercials. Like, we get commercials with Maria Menounos here for half an hour. It's like, oh, great, Maria Menounos is on. She's cute, but I really don't want to watch her.
What's sad is that we haven't gotten short films in front of like a theatrical release in a long time. Like, but prior to the lockdowns and even to the mid to late teens, we used to get maybe a 3-minute or 4-minute animated short film or some sort of weird short film. I remember this one that Pixar did. I think it was Pixar's computer animation. It was basically a guy with an airplane trying to get the attention of this girl across the street in an office building or something. That debuted in theaters. That was charming and sweet. They had stuff with like animal, they just did cool stuff. It was still infrequent at that time, but every time you'd be in a theater and you saw it, everybody got a good reaction out of it. And it's been a lost art because it's been so infrequent. I mean, the last like big set of ones were before Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. They had a Who Framed Roger Rabbit short.
Oh, those are awesome.
And those shorts were fantastic. And they weren't all in front of Disney films. Some of them were a couple in front of other regular films as well. Because theaters had a little bit of carte blanche to show them before anything that they wanted to. Because what was Disney going to do? Like they still got a percentage of whatever that showing was, so that they could show the cartoon because people liked them. People would ask for them at the theaters. But sadly, like there's almost no market in it anymore because I don't know, people just kind of dipped out, and there's that aspect to streaming. There's also the other aspect that there's such a rush going on in Hollywood that they care more about just pumping out a product than making sure it's in a good position to be sold. So yeah, it's I miss those shorts. But yeah, the Fleischer cartoon gave Disney a run for their money, especially considering the fact that Disney was still starting out in those years. But yeah, 1941, I think it was. And it was also, it also preserved the original creators of Superman, because it would say Jerome Siegel and Joe Shuster as the creators from the comic strip on those shorts, so that in that period where, the DC took their names off the Superman titles for, during the latter end of the Golden Age and early Silver Age. If you managed to catch those cartoons like debuting on television, you actually know who the creators of Superman were. Prior to that, you just knew who was writing that issue for that time, until I think it was Neil Adams and a few other artists and writers lobbied to get their names back on the comic.
Yeah, and even though it was a victory, guess how much those guys got as a pension for creating Superman?
I think around $20K a year, right?
That's it, man. $20,000. I know, adjusted for inflation from 1975 or 6 is whenever it went down. I get it. It's better than nothing. But those guys brought billions of dollars to like, was it
Oh yeah,
national
there's no
back
question
then?
about it. They got freaking ripped off. They got completely ripped off.
They got completely ripped off on the comic book publishing side of things, but for the movie rights, they got a lot of cash out of that.
Oh, I didn't know
Um,
that.
Yeah, because that's one of Warner Brothers' kind of stipulations when they co-finance on productions, especially IP holders. They make sure that they keep the original creators and their estates happy because they don't want lawsuits. Um, and oddly enough, part of that has to do with I think what Neil Adams and his cohorts from DC did to get first their names back on the books, and then Warner Brothers was like, because they didn't fully have all the rights to I think the DC characters by the time they were doing Superman. But they said, we really want to make sure that everybody's happy from this because the Salkins have got all this deals. We're going to be their distributor. We're co-financing it. We're going to keep everything above board. And that's one of the things that I think was fantastic about Warner Brothers and even current day DC Comics. They are shelling out some cash to their creators whenever they use their IPs. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone involved who contributed significantly to the characters in Superman, whether they're artists or writers, are probably going to get a nice fat check for that and a credit, a special thanks credit or works by credit in this film. And it's a lot of money for like regular schmoes, but for some of those comic artists and writers, that's half of the year's worth of bills and expenses and kids and maybe even investments and stuff that they could desperately use.
Oh yeah.
Since so many of them who worked on some of these characters that are in this film aren't really working that frequently anymore.
Did you see the photo that they released from last year when they invited all the Superman creators? Like, not all of them, that'd be crazy, but like many prominent ones, like Jerry
the
Ordway
contributors.
and Jim
Yeah.
Lee. Yeah. I thought that was cool. And when you brought up the whole special thanks, every Marvel movie, I mean, I watch the credits because everyone's waiting for the end, but I make sure I laser focus on all the artists' names. I'm like, yes, I'm like, oh, there's Jack Kirby, John Romita, all those guys. That's my favorite part of the credits, even over
Make
the
sure they're getting their
post-credit
due.
stuff. Yeah, and I just wish
I wish
Stanley
Disney paid better for those.
do.
They don't pay anything.
But I talked to somebody though at a con once, and they were pretty happy the way Disney treated them. Like beforehand, I think I can't remember who it was because I'm not trying to keep a secret for anybody. But I specifically spoke to someone in person about it, and they were like, "Yeah, the Disney royalties aren't." Oh, it was Jim Steranko. That's who it was. Jim Steranko.
Oh yeah,
B.
B. Steranko. Yeah.
And he was talking about that stuff. And I always want those guys to get their just due because I mean I don't want to shit on Stan Lee. He's passed away. He was an old man and he lived a miserable life towards the end. But like he got his moment in the sun more than any creator ever. And like maybe save for like a Todd McFarlane who is independently wealthy from his toy company but used his comic career to build that. A lot of these guys die broke or like just don't really do much. There's sad stories too about a guy named Herb Trimpe who used to do the Incredible Hulk, and he was a good artist. He was doing the Hulk in the 70s, and he's doing like Rolling Stone magazine covers. Like the dude's art was world class, and they just stopped hiring him because he was too old. Now, thankfully, DC doesn't do that as much as Marvel does, but at the end of the day, I just want the creators to be taken care of. That's it. I mean, I'm a creator. I don't want these guys to be getting ripped off. I hate to hear these stories, and it always. I mean, that's why I hate Batman's creator Bob Kane. That piece of shit ripped off Bill Finger, and that guy died. He never got his just due. It didn't even happen until Batman versus Superman that his name was is now a credit on Batman, and everything is.
And it's
Bob
not even
Kane
the right
Bill
credit
Finger.
because they put in a with, and I'm like, no, it's Bill Finger and Bob Kane or with Bob Kane. Like that would be the more proper order because he also like revitalized Flash and Green Lantern, didn't he, Bill Finger?
I would not know, so I won't guess because I'm a Batman guy, and Silver Age Flash and Green Lantern, while cool, aren't necessarily my cup of tea.
No problems there. The other part too, it's funny, is that they also ripped off a little bit of Lee Falk and Walter B. Gibson for Batman, and Bill Finger was the only one saying, like, admitted, yeah, we got inspiration, we stole plots from those pulp novels to beef up Batman so we could do something more with the character because we had all these deadlines to hit because they were not expecting. Was it Detective Comics 15? I think it was, or 17, or no, 27. No.
Oh yeah, for Batman.
Yeah, God.
Yeah, he's 27.
Yeah, it is 27. They didn't expect it to, just fly off the shelves like it did, And then it's like, yeah, we're gonna do some more Batman books. Great. Do you have some stories? Hold on, let me go to the library.
I think early Batman is fun to read from a very like bad point of view because the stories are very simple, the art is very simple, but
Yep.
I'm never gonna knock it. It's look where it is. Batman's a $1 billion industry himself. I mean, somebody could go in, like some rich Saudi could just buy Batman, and Batman would be okay. Like you could just use everything that's associated with that character and keep him from the DC universe, and I think Batman would still make the same amount of money. He's ubiquitous.
I mean, I think it also goes back to the creative force of having very eccentric and comic-looking villains, which was right off the bat. This, pun intended, right off the bat with Batman. But soon like Superman and all the other heroes of the time started having the eccentric, crazy villains because Superman was just fighting, corrupt politicians and wife beaters, and then the occasional mad scientist. And then all of a sudden you get the Toy Man and Mr. Mxyzptlk, and then Lex Luthor and Parasite and
Parasite's a good villain.
Parasite is a good, and then it was like decades later you get Metallo, which was brilliant.
I loved Metallo in the cartoon because he was so creepy looking.
Yeah.
Because I know this is a weird thing to say, but as a kid, he was creepy to me because they drew lips on the character, and only like Lex Luthor had lips, and I was like, they just look so weird because everyone had a slit for a mouth. So. Mm-hmm. Here's a weird picture from the new Superman trailer. We're all fairly optimistic on this channel. We like movies. I mean, we're going to read a super chat in a minute about Mission Impossible, which I know Andrew's excited to hear. But, we're not here to bitch about the Snyderverse or anything like that. That's in the past. But I got to say, this is one of those situations where this looks realistic to a fault. Like sometimes you see things how they really are. Because I'm not loving the flying, but other than that, I'm still on board with this movie. Like the tone, the shit talking he was doing, bring it. I don't want Superman to be boring. Just because he's virtuous doesn't mean he's a boring character.
Oh, I liked his speech about how, like, no matter what you do, Luthor, you're never going to win. Like, that's traditional Superman dialogue. But one of the things I noticed this, and I saw it on, and it's actually quite a quaint little channel called Prodigious Saps. And they've been pointing out that there's a ton of drones that are videotaping everything in Metropolis as it's happening. And so I think some of these weird shots we're getting are supposed to be the POV of the drone that's going to be crossed into the normal part of the cinematography because it was so weird seeing like so many of these little bots flying around when Superman's fighting like, the Hammer of Bavaria or the giant kaiju thing.
That was cool though.
And even even some of the I guess they're called the Raptors, the Luthor's protective security force or what have you. It looked really cool to see like, oh, there's some sort of media coverage going on to this that's independent of like what the Daily Planet and the regular news is doing. And I'm wondering if that's part of Lex Luthor's strategy to defile Superman of sorts.
By the way, Josh in the chat, I'm going to go out and start looking for the toys. We might make a little video about it for fun. I do plan on picking up, because I have a rule of thumb for the collection, which you guys are going to start to see more. I finally reassembled the Spider-Man. I'm literally pointing to it like you can see it right now. Sorry, my camera's off, folks. I just got back, so I had to take care of some business. So I'm just in a t-shirt. I don't look very world-class right now. But I will go out and look for those toys. I'm interested. I've seen everything that they're releasing. I'm not going to go out and buy 25 Superman figures, but my rule of thumb is I have to get a movie version of the superheroes that I like. So I have every Batman. Like, I have every movie Batman. Even George. I have 2 George Clooney's. Not proud of it, but I have 2 George Clooney's. So I will get a David Cornsweet Superman. I have a couple Henry Cavills. Hell, I have Jim Lee Hush Batman too. But yeah, I'll pick it up. We'll find out if the toys will sell. When these show up at Ollie's, I'll be very surprised. If they overproduce them, that's not a good thing. But I wanted to give a shout out to Rita Source. This is an excellent point, and Script and Andrew, I'd like to get your point, especially you, Andrew, since you're very excited for Jurassic World Rebirth. But Rita Source says, I still maintain that if it can't crush Jurassic World Rebirth in its debut, then Superman is doomed to fail. What do you guys think of that perspective?
I don't think I agree with that, because superhero films have been in this kind of state of decline for a while. Whereas kind of the fun action monster-ish movies, looking at you, Godzilla, looking at you, Jurassic World Dominion, which made a bunch of money as well. Like, those have been on the upswing in terms of box office return and in terms of just people going to the movies and enjoying going to the movies, right? Regardless of what you think about any of those films, people went out to see them. People were actually interested to get off their butts, off their couch, and go watch the movie in the theater, right? And that says something because that's step one, right? You want to actually give people a reason to go to the theater to begin with. And so I don't know if it needs to do better than Jurassic World Rebirth. What I do know is that it needs to do very well. It needs to make a lot of money, and DC doesn't have much in the way, like the genre itself doesn't have much goodwill right now. DC hasn't had goodwill for their films in a very long time, right?
Over a decade, yep.
Yeah, Aquaman, right? That made a crap ton of money. Crickets.
That was a one-off watch for me. It's like I watched it in theaters, I liked it, I never watched it again, so I just remember liking it. But I'm afraid
I've seen it
to
like
give it
3
another
times.
view.
I've seen it like 3 times. I did see it in theaters. I enjoyed it. I still enjoy it. I still hold that Momoa was a miscast as Arthur Curry, but that's neither here nor there. The movie itself, just as a movie, was fun. I had a good time with it. And the sequel, not as much. Though it wasn't as awful as some people I think were claiming it was. It was just meh.
Yeah,
like,
there's
it didn't do much for me.
There's also a lot of inferring of certain things in there that I'm like, no, that's behavior brothers do to each other. Like, I mean, I've seen my friends that were siblings that made each other eat worms as a joke to see if they could go ahead and do it. And it's like,
yeah,
no, that's normal brother stuff.
It is.
It's not they want the whole world to eat crickets or some garbage like that. It's like these are what brothers do, and the joke is that these two guys have never grown up as brothers, so now now one of them is gonna start playing pranks on the other one to see how far it'll go. Especially considering the fact that it's literally a fish out of water story for Orm.
Yeah, that's exactly what it. Well, it kind of actually. It's a bit of a fish out of water story for both of them, just in different directions. Arthur clearly is not comfortable in this position as king, right? It's not quite to the same degree as Orm on the surface, but there's, they're basically swapping places there and uncomfortable to different degrees in each of them. But yeah, I don't think that's. I would agree that a new Superman film, provided it ends up being good, the prospect of that is far more exciting than another Jurassic film. Though I love the Jurassic films. I loved all the Jurassic World films, and I'm looking forward to this one. It's up to the film whether or not I'm excited after I leave the theater, or if I'm excited just to be leaving the theater. 2 very different things. I hope that it's the former. I just want both movies to be good. Is that too much to ask? I just want to have fun at both of them.
Like, honestly, Andrew, you're kind of selfish and greedy right now, and you should pull it back because that's just asking far too much from Hollywood.
I'm
mad at you.
2024 2024 wasn't a horrible year for movies. It was weak on box office, but again, I just think that we've got Warner Brothers has officially taken the reins as the king of Hollywood in the studio system right now. They're the only ones that are putting out on a proper ratio better movies than bad movies that audiences are enjoying, they're going to see. They're mostly making their money back. Again, theater participation has been in decline. They're trying to blame it on the pandemic. It's not the pandemic. It's the fact that there's an oversaturation of content, and a lot of that content is content and not movies, not magical, not inspirational. And Warner Brothers is trying to figure out a way to do that again, and it's really hard when you've got about 75% of the entire executive aspect of the industry not knowing how to make a film. And they're making decisions based on their feelings and poor data collection. And in some cases, even to what James Gunn criticized in the Rolling Stone article, they're making movies or starting production before there's even a completed script. And that's horrible because, literally for years on YouTube, I keep telling everyone who's interested in writing a story that it all starts with the script. You don't make anything before you get that script in the right position. And on top of that, even James Gunn says that he's killed projects that where the script wasn't ready. And it's like, wow, we haven't had an executive do that in a long time.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that kind of stuff. Speaking of our old pal James Gunn, and actually we're not friends with him, we don't know him. What'd you think about his announcement that he's working on like Batman's now the next casting they're working on? Because maybe I'm thinking they're feeling a little confident, like, oh, Superman's gonna, people are excited for it. Now we'll throw Batman at him. I think if they can hit a 1-2 punch of those two heroes kicking ass together, I think they can really take down, like, put it like this: a good Batman and Superman movie could beat a Marvel movie. Like if you had like
it should in theory.
Yeah, it could do Avengers numbers if done right.
Well, the thing is that with Warner Brothers, when they look at the title characters of Batman and Superman, they put them together. They're thinking at minimum $1 billion each for each character. That's what they're looking at there. Now, James Gunn has announced Wonder Woman is currently the one that they're working on now, and then Batman's a priority, but they have to nail him down correctly, which is killing me because here I am stuck in Ontario, Canada. And it's like, I know exactly how to do the Batman that would fit within this universe and not be campy and still have that edge that people want, but also do the one thing that Batman has been lacking for a very, very long time, which is instill hope and achievement and aspiration in a different area of that spectrum that doesn't conflict with what Superman's doing. It's a pain in the butt right now. Even though I have Peter Safran's number, I don't know if he'll ever answer one of my calls.
Wow.
One day he will.
Not a mild flex there at all.
Well, I got it years ago, and then I've always been just kind of intimidated just to call him up because I'm not a dick.
Like respect.
But at the same time, I'm constantly being told, like, no, if you got the number, you got to call him and get on the radar until he like blocks your number. It's like, I really would rather have him not block my number. Just kind of find a happy coincidence where I bump into him organically and be like, okay, let's shoot the breeze. Let's see if I can nail something down, because that's better than burning a bridge. And
you can clone my phone number and call him if you want. I volunteer. I don't mind. Because it's a damn Ohio number. Shit. We'll impersonate a debt collector. No. All joking aside, guys, I feel like we're all in the chat too. We're all kind of in a cool place. We're just like, yep, it'll be here in a couple weeks. I guess the question is, does anybody have their Amazon tickets for Superman? Or script, you have like early advance tickets or something like that yourself?
Well, I mean, we do have Amazon in Canada, but none of the Canadian theaters are in partnership with that promo code or anything, which kind of stinks. I have been invited to an LA premiere, but I don't think I'll be able to make it, sadly. And it's basically the the balcony stuff, so I don't get to mingle with any of the cool people. But I really want to go, but I just don't think I'm going to be able to pull it off. I'm going to probably end up seeing it probably the Saturday or Sunday, just the way that my work schedule has been going recently. I'm looking forward to it. I wish I could see it early and then pop on and share with you my thoughts and my critique, and let you know if it's a worthy adaptation or if we're just going down the same type of terrible decisions that Warner Brothers, like the previous regime, did. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do that. It's just not in the cards right now. So, but I will definitely be, of course, providing my most honest opinion about it. As much as I enjoy what James Gunn has done so far with his DCU with Creature Commandos and Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad, I never put any faith behind a creator, because we all make mistakes. Sometimes you can do everything right and still make a bad movie, especially with good intentions, and especially when you've done your due diligence and you think everything is like in simpatico with what you're trying to execute and what you think the audience is going to enjoy. And sometimes it just falls flat. So I'm crossing my fingers that is the case. I'm also talking with some of my buddies out there, because we're still trying to reconcile this rumored like $333 million budget in Cincinnati for Superman, even though they shot a bunch of it in Atlanta, Georgia, and a bunch of it in Norway, and you don't have all of that tax filings in a single state when you're shooting in multiple states or even multiple countries. So I don't know where that number came from, unless Warner Brothers is playing something interesting with an umbrella title.
I mean, I hope it's a hit. I know that's if it's that much, you have to make 2.5 times at minimum to make a profit. So
Yeah,
good luck,
especially
Superman.
Especially considering the fact that their marketing campaign only launched like 10 days ago. Like their official marketing campaign is such a tiny window. I would be surprised if it cost more than 10 million a week leading up to Superman.
You think if I spent 10 million a week on Woke Busters, I could sell like 1 billion copies?
Possibly. I mean, according to the stock market, they claim that would be the case.
If I had that kind of money, I just would stop. I wouldn't stop doing what I'm doing. I like this shit. Folks, hit that thumbs up button to let us know that you like it. A lot of people in the chat. Some people are waiting for streaming. Some people are excited. Swift -1, thank you for telling everybody to hit that thumbs up. I appreciate you. Folks, WCBS will have an early review. Nick and I have advanced screening tickets for, the 8th or whatever? So we'll give you guys an early review, but Script, when you have seen it and you have the time, we'll do like an Avengers round table. We'll get a bunch of different people from different channels, and we'll have a nice discussion about the film, if it's worth it. If it's a piece of shit, we'll just be like, all right, well, it sucked. That's it. But if it's something that's worth talking about, folks, we will give you more world-class content regarding this movie. I know some people aren't excited. I know some of us are fanboying out, but I may not be watching Superman cartoons when I'm drawing, or I may not be listening to some podcasts about the Man of Steel. It's kind of nice to be interested in something. So I know some people want me to yell and scream about something. When I see some shit that's not world class, I'll definitely be there to tell you it sucks. But going in, I'm optimistic. So, anything else you guys want to say before we check in with the audience and we jump into something that I'm not optimistic about?
Sure. Let's go into the we've had our uppers. Let's go to the downers.
Yay!
Yeah, right. It's that kind of party, folks. Overkill 161. Thank you very much. Death Wish 4, The Quickening. Charles Bronson was cool. I'm a fan.
He was.
Was he in the Dirty Dozen? No, was he?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Because he's in a movie I like when he doesn't have the mustache, and I'm always like, is that Charles Bronson? It throws me off.
Yep. Yeah, he was in the Dirty Dozen without the mustache. That's he looks
weird.
Definitely weird.
Andrew, I have some good news from our friend John Thomas. I finally saw Mission Impossible, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Lots of action, plus 2 of the best reasons when Cruise as getting CPR. Haley Atwell. I want Superman to be good. Gun, don't let me down.
My man. I'm glad you enjoyed Mission Impossible, John. Really glad you did. I'm still eyeballing an announcement for like a full Mission Impossible 4K collector's movie set. And the second that goes up for pre-order, I'm snatching it.
Oh, you'll get one. I just got my Bond box set last week, so your Mission Impossible set will be here soon.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's the Steelbook one too, so.
Oh.
I got the limited number.
You had to go all out, right? You love James Bond, even if you hate some of the films.
Well, to be fair, it's only the Sean Connery collection, so it's only 2 films I don't love. It's
okay.
4 films that are great, and then it's Diamonds Are Forever and You Only Live Twice, which I actually got into a fight with a famous writer named Arlen Schumer on Facebook years ago. I used to be friends with him. Do you know him, Script?
I've heard of him. I've never interacted with him, but yeah.
Yeah, don't. He is a particular guy. It's the kind of peculiarity that makes me not tell people I do comics or write this kind of stuff, because I'm always like, oh, they'll think I'm that guy. But long story short, I was in some James Bond thing, benign, commenting like, I don't really like You Only Live Twice. It's overblown. It's got a really long ending. It's not that great. It's a fall off from Thunderball. And like, he wrote me some long diatribe about why I'm wrong, and it was like a personal thing. I was like, fuck you, dude. So I blocked him. And then he popped up on my Facebook feed, and I'm like, do I watch his videos? And while I do enjoy his videos and wish him the best creatively and professionally, your take on James Bond, dude, is just absolutely wrong. And I'd love to debate you one day. Doesn't matter if I was alive in the 60s. I'm watching the same movie as you, and You Only Live Twice is not that good. Like,
I have to watch
movie. Don't.
No, I have to watch that movie in sections because I always fall asleep after the second spaceship kidnapping.
The second spaceship kidnapping.
The
That's how
second.
much action's in this movie, folks.
Wow, that is something.
Have you ever seen it, Andrew?
Nope.
Don't. It's where you get Dr. Evil, though, and the secret volcano layer and all that shit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You also get Sean Connery dressed up to look Asian.
Yeah, he gets plastic surgery.
And it's terrible. You know what's
Wow.
funny?
What?
There is a better Asian makeup done in a 1940s shadow serial that was on like a shoestring budget than what they did for Sean Connery, and He Only Lived Twice, like 30 years later.
I wonder, like, what the situation was, because we've all watched films where you can tell that the producers have more money than sense, so they just throw money at every problem, and the end result is garbage. And that's how I feel about You Only Live Twice. It's just like blowing a load on the screen. It's like, look how much money we have. We can get a helicopter to pick up a Toyota and drop it in the ocean. It's like, okay, that scene's cool, but your story's dumb. I know I broke it down really eloquently there. I'm sorry.
You did. Quite impressive, really.
It's going to be a hard watch for me on that 4K box set. But real quick, John Thomas and you, Andrew, I got a poster for Mission Impossible 8, but it's a remake of the original Mission Impossible poster.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, Andrew, the reason I'm telling you is I have an extra. So if you're that big of a Tom Cruise diehard fan, I can go into my storage unit and pick out some of those poster tubes and mail you one. I think that's a yes, folks.
I do. I think
The
that's
favorite co-host.
Well, you are a good friend, man, and I know you'll appreciate it. I don't need two of them, so. But I'll send you a picture of it. We'll talk off air. That's some inside baseball for the audience. There you go, folks. You're
That
part
is a
of this
mission
show.
that I choose to accept.
Well, you chose wisely, my friend. You chose wisely. Anyone catch that over the weekend, folks in the chat? Did you go see Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade for Father's Day? I didn't. I had other plans, but I might catch it tomorrow night. My local theater is showing a Fathom event, and I wasn't but 7 months old when that movie hit theaters back in 1989, so I was just a smidge too young for the PG-13 rating or to understand any of it. But I kind of want to go just to check it out, because I've seen Raiders on the big screen, and I've seen the newest ones on the big screen, and I need to cleanse my palate, so maybe that's what I'll do. John Thomas, thank you very much for your super chat. Script, what did you think of Justine Bateman's interview about how effed up Hollywood execs are? People don't want to watch/like movies making decisions. People who don't want to watch/like movies that are making decisions.
Oh no, that it's frightening. Because even some of the execs I know that do watch movies, there's this weird atmosphere where even if they feel really excited about something, they won't pull the trigger. And I think it's having more to do with the fact that the distribution model is topsy-turvy right now. Nobody's like, you can get a deal for distribution and theatrically, and then all the financiers that you can go to are focused more on streaming. And because streaming is safe, streaming gives you money, and you don't have to worry about people watching it. And you know, if it's good, it'll rise to the top, and if it's bad, it gets buried, and it will never actually affect your reputation. And it's all math, and it reminds me of gosh, I can't remember who said this, but it just took a look at, you have executives that look at the audience as strictly numbers, like they're soldiers on a battlefield, and all they have to do is like, can we get them to be deployed here or not? And if they are, great, we annihilate them. If they're not, well, then we just don't put any money into that, let them kind of fester over there. It's soulless, and it's really kind of tragic, because I know dozens, if not 100 or so people out who are, leaving LA actually, who all they want to do is just make great movies, and they prefer to like 4-wallet or get small theatrical distribution deals, because they want to provide an experience to audiences, but it's getting too expensive to make. And on top of that, it's getting too difficult to hook your general audience, because they have so much access to all this other amazing stuff out there, whether it's through YouTube TikTok, other social media streaming platforms, other streamers like Tubi or Pluto, what have you, with archives of footage. You're competing all with it on a far more even playing field than you expected. Whereas previous to the internet age, you had whatever was showing in theaters that year and whatever was on TV that year with limited hours. You basically had 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, plus a dozen 2-hour films showing a week to compete, which is an incredibly small number compared to the hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of pieces of television history or film history that is fully available online across tons of platforms. So it's really hard to just show them something new that also kind of gets people excited to go to invest in that film. It's a cultural shift right now, where I would say that we have been in a second dark age of ideas for a couple of decades, and the only reason it hasn't taken as strongly is because there's still a few people there that are able to push through the wall and get something amazing out there, and it's very slim supply.
Well said. I have to check out more of the Justine Bateman interview, John, because I like Family Ties, so she gets a pass in my book.
Yeah, and she was also in a couple episodes of Lois and Clark as a Kryptonian.
Oh, was she? I don't remember that. I watched that show when it was on TV back in the day, and then some syndication, but I don't think I've seen a full episode of that in over 20. No, my friend had it in college. He let me borrow the DVDs. That's the last time I watched it, which was close to 20 years at this point too. Shit.
All right. Well, they're releasing.
We don't want to talk about
that. They're finally getting the Blu-ray treatment, and I'm really hoping that the Blu-ray version caught all the mistakes that their HBO Max Blu-ray or HBO Max HD version missed, because there was sound effects missing, there was heat vision special effects missing. They got kryptonite the wrong color in one episode because they actually had to use a blue light on it and then key it into green post, but they forgot to do that on the restoration. So I hope that set is good, because that's one of the things I'll be getting right away. Because first of all, you have a show where Clark Kent in live action has some of the best lines he's ever had in live action, said by Dean Cain. Now, Dean Cain was not a great actor at that period. He was still learning, so you have to give him a little bit of latitude. But everyone else around him kind of really helped him out so that he could stand on par with what they're doing.
I love Miss Superman.
Yeah, he's a good one. And he's kind of closer to the George Reeves version of Clark than the Christopher Reeve bumbling, timid guy.
Yeah, his Clark Kent was pretty slick.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching that show as a kid thinking, he's cool as Superman and not as Superman. Because he had, that 90s... What was he, doing the 90s plaid shirt and jeans with the suit jacket? It's they modernized him. It worked. I think he looks pretty modernized in the new one, too. I don't think we're getting, I know Brandon Routh was trying to be a callback to Reeve and all that stuff, but...
Well, that's because Bryan Singer. So Bryan Singer and the two writers whose names I forget for Superman Returns. So the one thing those three men have in common is that they're openly gay men, and they rested more on nostalgia and didn't really have a proper understanding of relationships between men and women, which is, I think, what hurt that movie a lot, especially on the rope. There's no romance really in Superman Returns, and the aesthetics. Even though I love their design for Metropolis, I thought that was absolutely fantastic. Some of the aesthetics and the relationships that they were playing around with were very unrefined. And I'm not saying that a quote unquote straight person would be able to fix that, but I think a more experienced writer, regardless of the sexual preference, that understood those levels of dynamic relationships across that spectrum would have served that script a lot better, and probably wouldn't have put us into that Man of Steel 10-year stretch of what the hell is this?
I remember leaving the theater and being so disappointed from Superman Returns. I was angry because, admittedly, I paid opening night to see it because I wanted to watch the Spider-Man 3 trailer, because back then YouTube was around, but it wasn't supported the way it is now, or the trailer, not even now, it's 15 years ago, longer than that, you'd do the trailers on YouTube. It was a big deal. Nowadays, it's nothing, but you had to go see a movie. So I remember going to see that, and I was like, all right, Batman Begins was awesome, 10 out of 10. Let's go see the Superman movie. It's going to be just as good. And it was not. And yeah, Dr. Covenels is correct. It was an abomination. Yeah. I can't even sit through that movie again.
I can only, it's tough to sit through, but I can appreciate the airplane save sequence.
Yep.
And the saving Metropolis out during the earthquake sequence, because I'm like, okay, this is some good stuff that we should see more of Superman doing. But again, reused plots, misunderstanding of various relationship dynamics, maybe too much love of Donner's initial film, kind of blinded them from trying to tell another stage in Superman. I wasn't upset with the kid aspect. I thought it was fascinating, but they didn't get a good kid actor. And they didn't really do anything fun with it. So,
nope. So Georgian, thank you very much for your generous super chat. So Georgian says, last night on the last High Council, Andrew Query, UPN Kids had alongside the 90s Marvel Cartoons catalog. Jumanji, I remember that. Men in Black, remember that. Bureau of Alien Detectors, Technoman, a.k.a. Techman Blade, and other offerings I can't recall.
I don't remember those last two.
Did they have the three Jim Carrey cartoons of Dumb and Dumber, The Mask, and Ace Ventura?
I
remember The Mask. Okay, because I don't... Maybe I remember a Dumb and Dumber cartoon? I definitely remember The Mask and the Ace Ventura one.
The Dumb and Dumber cartoon was on for like a blink and you miss it moment.
Yeah.
But the Mask cartoon had toys. And the Ace Ventura cartoon had Matt Frewer do the voice. So it was kind of relevant. I watched both. I preferred Dumb and Dumber the movie over any Jim Carrey cartoon, but...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's just a great movie. But, so Georgian, I used to watch the Jumanji cartoon before school. That's when it was on here in Cincinnati. And then Men in Black... So, Georgian, every time Nick and I hang out, we talk about the Men in Black cartoon for about an hour. Like, we just cannot not talk about it. We fucking love that show.
Literally every time?
I mean, that cartoon is better than the film series now. Like, the first movie was great. That cartoon was just really, really good. Interesting art, like French-style art, I think. And cool plots. I mean, it completely changed what Men in Black was, because Men in Black as a comic book was not just aliens, it was everything like supernatural, from like the werewolves to vampires and all that type of stuff.
I'm pretty sure the first issue they just fought a religious cult.
I think so, yeah.
Wow.
And Agent J was a white guy.
Yep.
I did not know that.
The art's very, very rough.
In fact, I was today years old when I learned that Men in Black was a comic book at all.
Yeah, Malibu Publishing, I think, because it was what Sandy Carruthers and Lowell Cunningham created it, and then it's just a couple issues.
It wasn't long running, I don't think.
It might be just 6 issues, because the first one is the cult, then the second one might be the aliens, then they fight like giant bugs, maybe like a goat. It's exactly what you would think, where you're gonna like talk about the myth of the Men in Black, and it doesn't look anything like the movie. I don't think there's the noisy cricket. I don't even know if we see headquarters. They usually just kind of roll up in their car and go to the job.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Script, I agree that the cartoon has a better track record than the movie series. Although, I do love the first Men in Black film. That's the one that I
love that movie. The second one was...
terrible.
Second one was bad. The third one was okay. It had a great emotional weight to it, but it just... I don't know. It just didn't have the same intrigue.
I watched it the other day with Nick. That's why Men in Black the cartoon came up. Because when we were in Astoria, he's like, Men in Black 3's on. Turn that on. I'm like, all right. So we sat there and we watched it. And then we proceeded to talk about the cartoon instead. But so, Georgian, thank you very much for taking me down memory lane. I don't miss the Jumanji cartoon, but I did watch a lot of it. Because, I mean, that's a good movie. Jumanji's a film series. I mean, people might have differing opinions on The Rock and Kevin Hart, but they made 3 Jumanji movies, and I like all 3 Jumanji movies.
Yeah, I agree with that entirely. I love the original, Robin Williams, and I love the 2 more recent ones that have The Rock and Jack Black and all of that. I thought I thought they were really fun. I was like,
They
wow,
were.
this is not a super deep, crazy film, which is not what I should expect anyway. I just had a really good time. They were entertaining. There was some cool visuals, and it was a fun cast. Like it was a good mix of a cast. Like they all played off of each other quite well.
Yeah. We could wish other movies would be done that well, but they have not. Adama, I also remember that show you're talking about. Our friend Shrubbles08 has a button request. And you know, folks, here on the channel, it's always asking you shall receive. No matter what, you could be right, but it's a lot funnier when
Wrong!
There we go.
There it is.
Yeah, there we go. Good old Lex. That was our... What? No, that's one of our first buttons. Actually, that might be the first button we made. The other ones I've just moved above it because they're intros. But the Lex Luthor wrong button still remains one of my all-time favorites.
I do quite enjoy that one.
Here's another one I missed.
I love that one because I love Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
It's weird. I love that movie and could quote it. I don't own it, and I never have.
Really?
Yeah.
I have it on Blu-ray.
I also don't own a Terminator film. The only Schwarzenegger movies I own are Total Recall and Predator.
I own
Those are
the
some pretty
first
good
Predator,
movies.
and I own. I actually own Terminator, Terminator 2: Judgment Day, Terminator 3, and Salvation.
None of you guys have Commando? Come on, that's like one of the best ones.
Oh, Commando is one of the best ones, but I've never seen it in the wild to be like, oh, Commando's cheap. Let's pick it up. I have to.
I think it's
never
because
remember to buy it.
I think it's because every time it's like on the shelf, someone buys it right away. Like it, they don't do a mass print run, but it's always sold.
People are out here just waiting for mass sales, $5 DVD sales on Commando.
Don't call me cheap. It's just I've been out and I'm like, hey, I need to. Like, I have a very extensive disc collection out in the living room, and I'm very proud of it. But I don't pay full price for a lot of stuff. Like, I'll pay full price for my Bond movies, but I pride myself like, and even on movies I'm embarrassed to own, like Batman versus Superman. I got that for $2. Can you blame me for paying for $2 for that movie, like on Blu-ray? It was the extended cut too, and I'm like, all right, for $2, I can't say no. I got to see what it is. And then I watched it, and it sucked. So
yeah, there was this funny meme I saw going around. I think it was yesterday morning, where it's like every Superman in regards to how they're reacting to being hit by bullets, and then Christopher Reeve, who just walks like it's nothing. Like everybody's like holding their hands up above their face or being knocked back, and then Chris Reeves is just walking through the tunnel and is just shrugging off high caliber machine gun rounds like they're nothing.
I love that scene in the deleted version when he goes through that Lex Luthor death trap.
Yep.
That's such a cool looking scene.
Fire, bullets, and ice. Yeah.
Yeah. I do like when he becomes the ice Superman. It's kind of funny. Have you guys noticed, though, this week, before we talk about this Black James Bond casting rumor, and Shajorjan, I agree, hashtag not mine James Bond as well. Have you guys noticed that this week, all the anniversaries for Batman movies seem to just line up perfectly? Yesterday was the 30th anniversary of Forever. We have Begins earlier in the week, Returns later in the week. Like, it's just Batman week.
Oh, yeah. So June 10th to the 20th is usually the prime week to release a Batman film.
Is that why The Batman didn't perform as well as they wanted? Because it wasn't released in its right window?
That's one area. The other part being it's one of the worst written Batman movies ever. But aside from that, yeah, that probably would have had something to do with it, too.
That's in my disc collection, which I also
There's
got
the real
for
reason.
very cheap. Yeah, it's got two things going for it: a bitchin' soundtrack, because the Batman soundtrack is really good. That theme song they play, and it's got a good Commissioner Gordon. Other than that,
dude, yeah. Oh gosh, why am I blanking on his name?
Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah, Jeffrey Wright. Jeffrey Wright is a great actor. Like, I understood a lot of people were upset that they cast a black Commissioner Gordon, but they cast a really good actor. So I'm like, I'm not burned by it, but I completely understand the ginger side reference that's going on there.
Same thing with Felix Leiter. Jeffrey Wright played Felix Leiter, and some people were upset, even though Bernie Casey was the first black Felix Leiter. Jeffrey Wright's just a damn good actor. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
He is
not
a
all about the
very,
race
very
swapping,
good
but I'm
actor.
like, oh, Jeffrey Wright's playing it. All right, that's fine.
Yeah, I know. And then they got Wendell Pierce playing Perry White, which in the new Superman film, I'm not against that. I like him a lot. They already, I mean, Lawrence Fishburne broke that mold already with Batman v Superman, or sorry, Man of Steel with Perry White.
Mhm.
So it's not too out of the character. But again, like a great actor in a supporting role like that, you can get away with that type of stuff.
Well, what it becomes then a matter of approaching the movie from two different angles, right? Where you can still be critical of the fact that they did the swap to begin with, but you can also still be intellectually honest and say, however, as a performance, this was a very good performance, or the opposite, oh, this was a bad performance, right?
right. Like I'm
So
still
you can
having,
have both conversations.
like I'm generally having a difficulty trying to think of a good white actor that could play Perry White. Like that's the right age, that can have that wisdom, that can have that encouragement, but also has that short temper. And like the closest I can think is Mel Gibson, but he's kind of too beefy for it. However, that would be quite an eccentric Perry White if it was Mel Gibson playing him.
I would love that.
But
But
yeah,
give me Nicolas Cage as Perry White. That's what I actually want to see. I want to see Nicolas Cage on a cocaine-fueled bender telling Clark Kent to get out there and get him pictures of Superman. No, Nicolas Cage should just play J. Jonah Jameson.
yeah,
That'd be even better.
he'd be better for J. Jonah Jameson. But if you put him in the costume that he's wearing for John Madden as Perry White, I think I could buy that too.
I love Nicolas Cage so much. I'm not embarrassed to say that out loud. Every time I travel, I wear this T-shirt that says Cage Fighter, and it's like a Mortal Kombat select screen, and it's all the different pictures of Nicolas Cage's face from all of his movies up to that point.
I've
So,
seen that shirt around. Like I know
Yeah.
there's a couple other people
That
in
is
my neighborhood that wear that
ridiculous.
shirt. That's hysterical.
the reason
Oh,
I
my
bought
word.
it though is it's got the detail of the face-off face is actually John Travolta, and I went, you know what? This artist understood the task. You get my money. So
Yeah.
I was very, very happy with that. All right, so let's talk about some bad casting rumors here. So, Aaron Pierre is one of the names being considered for the next James Bond. Thoughts?
Good
Well,
actor, wrong role.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro. You're not James Bond.
Nope.
I mean,
I
unless
don't-
it's a James Bond goes to every African nation with a heavy black population to infiltrate. Yeah.
I just don't understand why it's certain, unless you're just trying to be contrarian or get your social media clicks. I don't understand why any casting director would say, "Oh yeah, let's cast a black James Bond or an Asian James Bond." It's like, it's part of the brand identity. The character has to look like the character, and I think at the end of the day, this is just some kind of BS casting rumor to get people talking like we are now, because the video game shows their new direction for Bond, and in the video game, no matter how you guys feel about that trailer, he looks like James Bond, just a younger version. So I think they're smart enough to know that if they're going to make new James Bond movies, they're not going to alienate people. They'll make him look like Bond, but the rest of the cast will be very ethnic. So you'll have like black Moneypenny, female M, an old white Q, and then James Bond will look the part. I think that's about how they're going to go.
Possible. I mean, listen, I've been to the UK a number of times. There are a lot of black people there that speak with a British accent. It's not strange, but the other part too is that this is really a stunt rumor casting thing to generate interest before they actually land on a proper casting. If they go through with this at this level, I'm not saying that they can't pull it off. I'm just going to say it's going to feel transparent, as opposed to them actually doing something fun.
I just don't see the purpose for it. Like, David Cornsweet looks like Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rachel Brosnahan looks like a very convincing Lois Lane. And
Yeah.
the Skylar kid who they got for Jimmy Olsen, like, yeah.
That's a bang on casting if I've ever
He's
seen
really
him.
good. He's a good actor, too. He's in the Righteous Gemstones.
Righteous Gemstones.
Okay.
He's hysterical in the Santa Clarita Diet.
Oh, was he the little kid in that?
He's not he's the teenager that's in love with the daughter, Drew Barrymore's daughter, and she's like apprehensive about dating him, but they are like in sync schemers. Like there's situations where they're caught off guard and they just improvise a scheme, and in sync, and it's done so brilliantly funny that you're like, yeah, these two are like soulmates. Whether they're romantic or not, they are so in sync with each other. Like you just want to keep watching them together, and it's fun. It's a really fun show. I wish that show wasn't canceled.
I gave it I watched the first season. I don't remember what I didn't like about it, but I stopped watching it. But if I need something to watch, I'll go back and give it a shot because I love the concept. And Nathan Fillion, wasn't he like a talking head or whatever?
Nathan Fillion was a talking head, and then he was busy on another show. I think it's when The Rookie started up, and they replaced it with Alan Tudyk. But his face had degraded so much or decomposed so much that you don't notice.
It's not even a step down.
No.
Like, Alan Tudyk's just a great... We met him at Chicago Star Wars Celebration all those years ago. Like, he was cool, too. Because they let us into shop at the very end, and all those people were in there. We're just like, hey, man, what's up? And he came over and talked to people. So, he's nice and a talented actor. But I don't... It's funny, like, I love how everybody on the internet, when I complain about Black James Bond, they're like, oh, you're racist. I wish you knew what I looked like. Even though my picture's in the logo, I'm in the book, like, I don't hide my face normally. Hell, this drawing here that I did of myself is what I look like. You know, that's me. I'm not white. But I do feel James Bond and all characters should look a certain way because it's a visual medium at the end of the day. Much like I feel Superman's costume should be blue and red. Much like I feel like Chewbacca should have brown fur, not blonde. Like, there's just certain visual cues. And I don't understand what is the obsession with today's casting directors or people that just influence entertainment. Like, this isn't going to make you people more money. And if at the end of the day that's what you're trying to do, maybe just be a little predictable on your casting. Like, hell, I would love a Henry Cavill Bond. James Bond's supposed to be close to 40, so I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll happen, but just give us some dude that looks like that. It'll make more money.
The character's visual design is part of the design. A character's design is the visuals, it's the characterization, it's all these things around their world building, things around them. It's a full package deal. It's not piecemeal, right? Like, if I'm doing Batman, right, I'm not going to say, oh, well, I'm telling a story of Batman, except his parents never got killed in the alley, right? Well, then why did he become Batman?
Exactly.
Because he was a black man and his dad walked out on him, and now he's got to like rummage around.
Vengeance.
I'm not. I mean, I am joking, but they did do a black Batman I think, before with Stan Lee, where he was an ex-con searching for justice. The other part,
joke's on you. He never even knew his father.
There you go. There's a stepdad that walked out on him, or another one of many uncles that his mom had.
But the design's part of it, right? Like, so that goes for regardless of whatever race the character is, like, or you know, if it's a male or a female character. I don't want I don't know, them to reboot the X-Men. Instead of Jean Grey, we get Gary Gray or something, right? Like, I don't.
He's a good director.
I didn't even know that was a real name, but I guess it makes sense. There's no reason to do this. Just how about you decide to make? You can even put it within the James Bond universe if you want. Do Agent 00 something else.
There's
right?
9
we know
agents.
Yeah, we know there are more of them, right? We had Trevlin, right? You know, you have more agents to work with. Okay, you can make it a black guy if you want. Shoot, make it. It's getting up there now, but Idris Elba is an incredible actor, and I love the dude's voice, and he would make a fantastic, like, character in that kind of mythos. But I don't know, make him 005 or 3 or 4 or whatever.
No, I'd make him M. He'd be awesome as M.
Or make him a new M, because M is just one of those rotating things, right?
Mm-hmm. See, that's where the fakers, that's where they mistake it. Because M is just a title. 007 is a code number, but James Bond is his real name. You can have other characters, like, you can have many M's, because Roger Moore had multiple M's.
Yeah.
He's the only actor, I think, to have multiple M's. Long story short, though, I'm with you guys 100%.
No, didn't Daniel Craig also?
Oh, you're right.
Judi Dench and
right.
what's his name?
Ray Fiennes, you're right.
Yeah.
Good old Voldemort, or Vlodimort, as they call him in My Immortal. One day, Andrew, I want you to do a stream with me where you have a little too much wine, and I'll have a couple of beers, and I'm going to read you My Immortal, the Harry Potter fan fiction.
Oh, boy.
We're going to do it. Oh, let's record it for Patreon, because that way it won't be live, and if you need a minute, we'll be able to...
As long as we don't make a drinking game out of it, because, man, fan fiction is...
You'll die. It's literally the worst thing I've ever read. It doesn't even make sense half the time.
Oh,
fan
the My
fiction
Immortal
is a
stuff?
special kind of bad.
Dude, there's a YouTube channel where they did it all.
We did it here once. It was rough.
It is rough. I mean, the thing is, they shot that intentionally knowing it's bad and were making fun of it, and they played it straight, but it's still difficult to get through.
I can't. If you were to say, Jeff, we're going to give you $1 million if you can read My Immortal without laughing, I'm going to try, but I don't know if I'm going to get the money because it's that stupid.
Yeah, and the main character's first name is either Inobi or Ebony. They don't know.
Yeah, it changes. So Georgian, yes, 009 did die in Octopussy because we have 6 and 9 that are dead in the original continuity, and then do we see another 00 in the Daniel Craig movies?
Like, no, I don't think so. I mean, the most other 00s we see is the backs of them in
Thunderball.
Thunderball, yeah.
Which, I don't need this because it was the 60s. They're all white in Thunderball, but I really don't care. I guess at the end of the day, what I care about is that Bond looks like Bond, and all these other characters could be of the modern age. I'm not going to bitch like, oh no, James Bond dates a black girl from wherever. It's like, all right.
He bangs
as long as she's hot. He just has to be hot. That is literally the only requirement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's had many a black lady. He had Gloria Hendry in Live and Let Die.
Oh, yeah.
Who else has he had? You said Grace Jones. Okay, maybe he only had 2 black women in all those movies, but it's fine. James Bond's equal opportunity. He doesn't judge. If they're evil though, they gotta die the same way.
Yeah, I mean he'll get his fun out of them first before he kills them, if he can.
Actually, you know what? Both of the black ladies that James Bond slept with died by their own hands.
That's right.
What's her face? Gloria Hendry ran in front of Mr. Big's machine gun sentinel, and then Mayday killed herself. Like she sacrificed herself. Mayday was legit. I love A View to a Kill. Not a popular movie, not a popular opinion, but you put that on, I'm paying attention to it.
I like it not just because of the outrageous aspects of it and Christopher Walken kind of playing a little outside of what Christopher Walken normally would do at that time, but also the John Barry Orchestra and the adaptation of the Duran Duran song and integration of it is like the chef's kiss. Amazing.
I can hear it right now in my head. It is a great score.
Yeah.
Like, I miss John Barry's work was great. I think for as great as A View to a Kill score was, Living Daylights was almost, I'm not saying as good, but was very close to the View to a Kill score. He had 2 bangers back to back.
Oh man, I miss movie soundtracks. Like we haven't really had a soundtrack with any of the Marvel films. That is something that you could compare to what a superhero soundtrack should have. We haven't had, even the Jurassic World movies, as good as they were, I can't recall of any new music that actually kind of stands out the way of that main theme that they have there, or like when they're or the suspension of the raptors around the kitchen from the first film. All of those types of songs, it seems to be gone. So I'm really hoping that Superman has a good soundtrack. It'd be fantastic if the Fantastic Four had an actual soundtrack, like the first one for a Marvel film, because gosh, like the only music that you actually can associate with Marvel is Alan Silvestri's Avengers theme. That's it. Yep. And it's like you have 30 plus movies, and that's the only song that you can actually like pair with them. Like there should be an Iron Man theme, a Thor theme, a Captain America theme, an Ant-Man theme, all individual character themes, because they are supposed to be parallel to like the individual character titles of their books and whatnot. You already have the films. You might as well give us something that people can kind of hum or instantly recognize. But instead, it's like, no, we're just going to do the one theme. Everything else is going to be generic, kind of not catchy background music that completely washes over you. And yeah, that kind of telegraphs something that, like the early warning signs that was going on with Marvel back in the day is like you're not pushing for album sales in conjunction with your film. That's weird.
Yeah.
And it's also one of the red flags I've seen with the Superman stuff, because as much as I like the visuals, and we are hearing a reinterpretation of the John Williams score, I haven't seen any promotion for any of the other music aside from some of the stuff that James Gunn was listening to while he wrote, Superman a couple years back. So I'm wondering, like, are they going to have a really cool Superman score that's going to live up to some of the other ones? Like, heck, even the score for like Superman 3 and 4 is still solid, despite the movies not being that great. And Superman Returns has a fantastic score, way better than the movie.
Agreed. Who did that score? Do you know off the top of your head?
John Ottman did that score.
Oh, okay.
John Ottman, who's a film editor and a music composer. Like,
I did not realize he does both.
No, he edited Usual Suspects. He also edited Superman Returns. He scored Superman Returns. The original songs he put in there are amazing. Like, especially the new like Kent Family and Kent Farm renditions were like completely inspirational. And yeah, it's like he should get some more work. I think he's really good. Another music composer who sadly has been robbed of being able to conduct an orchestra is Christopher Drake, and he did probably the most definitive Green Lantern theme out there, which was used only for one of the cartoons and not the live action. And then he also did the Dark Knight Returns score for the 2-part animated feature.
I still haven't seen the animated adaptation of that, because I'll be honest,
solid.
I don't. Is it? Because
Really
I don't
good,
actually
yeah.
give much of a crap about Dark Knight Returns.
You're not gonna make me angry when you say that, because it's a very good story that I do think gets a lot of praise, and rightly so, but it's also not the greatest Batman story I've ever read. Like,
no, I mean, it's a great one-off for what it is. But again, it's just like the stunt casting of saying we're going to put a black person into this traditionally white role. You can make it work once, perhaps, but if you keep following it through, you're going down a direction where you're aping someone that did it right, as opposed to trying to define your own path. And that's kind of what hurt. Like after the Crises on Infinite Earth story, and then the reinvention of trying to make comics more serious, because instead of maintaining the target of their base between 7 and 15-year-olds, they're like, we want to get into the young adult, 16 to 35 crowd, because they've been our customers for the last 15 years. You want to grow with them. And in doing so, they kind of split their audience, where they weren't getting newer readers as frequently as they were prior, even though sales had always been kind of, mid in the 60s and 70s. But in the 80s, when those guys that were no longer relied on their allowance to buy a select amount of books, they actually had a full-time job and they had more disposable income, they started buying more books. They decided, well, let's age up, the maturity level of these characters and these stories on the Detective Comics side. And even Marvel did a little bit of that as well, especially with Fantastic Four. And it worked for a time being, but now those guys are in their mid to late 60s. And what's the number of actual comic book readers to this day that, again, just like with movie theaters, they're competing with all the free stuff that's available to them on the internet. And it's really tough. And I think that hurt them, because instead of finding a way to reconcile some of the kiddies, the age appropriate stories for comic books traditionally, and seeding in some cool, like, mature stuff, like how Batman in the 70s, he left Wayne Manor and he started living in Wayne Tower, but he had a little bit more of like a James Bond stuff around him, like that little extra bit of maturity in there, but still having some fun stories where a 10-year-old could read it and not be traumatized. Unlike if you have a 10-year-old reading the first issue of A Death in the Family and you find out that Batman and Robin are getting down a CP ring, it's like, whoa, that is something a little bit too outside of the spectrum for a 10-year-old to be thinking about as a thing. And yet they're going that dark right off the bat there, before they then eventually kill Robin the Boy Wonder. The one of the few proxies that some of the readers would have, being like, yeah, I want to be Batman's sidekick, and versus the ones that say I want to be Batman. And it's like, if you're one in the crowd who wanting to be Batman's sidekick, whether you like Jason Todd or not, finding out that the majority of the fan base voted to kill him with a 1-900 number would probably ruin your day as a young kid who liked Robin as a character.
I mean, I like Robin as a concept. I didn't care for Jason Todd, so not that I was around when that was happening. I just still didn't care.
I mean, technically, you existed in the womb because I thought that was 1988.
It was 88. I was a kid at the time, and this was the time when my dad bought me a few comic books, and then when he read some of them, he's like, "I'm gonna get you some of the older versions, just for now." And then I would read the other stuff as I got older.
Tim Drake is my Robin.
Tim Drake is probably like the best of the Robins. I love.
He's the best Robin. I
love
like
the evolution of Dick Grayson though.
Grayson is better as Nightwing than he was as Robin.
Yeah. I mean, he also, I will say, the best Dick Grayson stories are from the Teen Titan books before he becomes Robin. Before he becomes Nightwing, but because that's where he kind of really figured out his character, and then the evolution from Robin to Nightwing just made way more sense once that took place. In that era, I would say that's probably one of the better byproducts of the post-crises DC universe there.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite Robin is Batman, and Batman by himself is perfect. No, I'm just joking. I have a Robin action figure. I have two. I got the first one from Returns, and then some shitty one I bought from an Ollie's.
I have a Nightwing McFarlane, and I'm waiting for McFarlane to do a Tim Drake Robin, and then that's all the Robin ones I need.
Remember, he loses the license at the end of the year, so if it doesn't come out this year, it's never happening.
I know.
I've got 3 or 4 Robins from the Superpowers set, and 2 of them are in great condition, and the other 2 are not, and I could probably repaint them to be like a Tim Drake and Jason Todd Robin.
I saw some guy take a Superpowers Superman, put a custom Christopher Reeve head on it, and repaint it, and it looked amazing.
That's cool.
I wanted to buy it from him so bad, but I don't buy custom toys. It's a dangerous, slippery slope that once I start, I won't stop. Because I'll be like, hey, will you custom sculpt me in ZBrush a James Bond Jr. 8-inch action figure? And then I'll just start getting custom shit and this shelf. Look, I need to get a house. So that's why I'm slowing down on collecting right now, because I don't have enough space for this. Everyone's like, oh, your collecting wall is cool. You realize, folks, I have 2 closets full of shit. No, that's 3 closets full of shit that I can't even put up. I have a DeLorean that's made of stainless steel that scales with a 7-inch action figure. But it's in a shipping box because I have no space for it. So if I go down the custom hole, I'll never leave. It's soon I'm getting customs of us for the High Council and shit.
Oh no, I mean that's an issue. I've got 2 closets full of tons of various toys. Some that I need to repair myself because fortunately I have a 3D printer to do that. But I don't have a place to put them yet. And yeah, buying a house in this market is crazy expensive.
Yeah, well, eventually it'll change.
I might even just move all the way out to the Maritimes up in Canada because I'll probably get a house and a massive amount of land for pretty cheap out there, but there's also no work. So I'd have to then go full time YouTubing and then hopefully trying to save my money so that I can fly out and make my deals with screenwriting still, because that's also as busy as I am here. I'm only busy because I am here. As soon as I leave, that's not working anymore.
Right.
That's a similar plan to what I have, because luckily, while houses are expensive in Cincinnati, if you go about a half an hour away, you can find some pretty cool stuff. So, folks, hopefully you enjoyed your economic discussion here on WCBS. We are
world-class economics.
Advisors. Yeah, we'll call Valiant Renegade. He'll join us. Now, folks, let's read. We had a new super chat roll in from our friend Trace XL. Very generous super chat. Thank you, Trace, for joining us this evening. He says, make a new 00 agent with his own legacy. James Bond has been established, so if MI6 is continuing with this new tales, give us a new agent to get behind. You don't just change James Bond, period. Another one, Crash.
Yeah.
Let's get you that DJ Khaled button right here. Right. Oh, I thought I had it queued up. I was going to be right now. Here it is.
Another one. Another one. Another one. Another one. Another one.
Trace, I love the concept. My only concern is if you get that, you might get something akin to Ballerina. And Nick and I weren't the biggest fans of that movie. Script, you weren't either, correct?
No, I fell asleep watching it. I forgot we talked about
I still plan
Ballerina.
to see it.
No, dude, it's not.
It's a half hour too long. There's some good fight scenes, but it falls into the trope of it's the one at a time fight scene.
Yeah.
There's some good stuff with the grenade, but they repeat it over and over again. I'm missing about a third of the film because again I kept falling asleep. But I woke up during a flamethrower versus a fire hose fight, which I thought was kind of interesting.
That was cool because she like just walked right up to the flamethrower. I was like, all right, I guess water's gonna beat fire. I mean, that's what it does, but you know what I mean. I didn't.
I
realize
played
that
Pokemon.
Yeah, I did play Pokemon. Don't include a Leaf Pokemon here because somebody's gonna burn. No, but Andrew, I saw it too, and Nick kept dozing off. I stayed awake through the whole movie, and I didn't love it. She looked great, like really good, and the third act is just John Wick's hunting her down, which is in the trailer, and he never like a lot of complaints people would have is, oh, it's a girl boss movie where she beats up the dude. Man, she tries to fight John Wick. He stops literally every punch. She like goes to hit him. He like grabs her fist and flips her around on the ground and all this shit. And then she's like, I need to kill so-and-so. He's like, you got until midnight or I'm going to kill you. And like, he's watching her in the sniper rifle. He's like ready. He's watching his watch. And it like that part's fine. But everything that builds to that is a little derivative and just a smidge boring, if I may say so myself. Just a smidge boring. Okay. So maybe watch it on streaming, my friend. Like, it's not.
Oh, maybe I'll take your word for it.
I mean, I have the original script. In fact, I can read a little bit of the very first page for you. This is from 2017. It starts very differently from the movie because it starts in the Swiss Alps in 1609. And a sword blade slices through an unprotected neck, and the head of a middle-aged woman tumbles into the dirt. Her body lands beside it, hands still clutching a basket of fruit. The perpetrator of this beheading stands over the body, sweaty, long hair, teeth clenched. He bends down, grabs the head by the hair, lifts it up, and walks around with it dangling by his side. Blood pours from the stump of her neck, painting a circle on the ground. He stands in the middle of the blood circle and looks out. Around him, a quaint little village. Wooden huts, rudimentary shops, the dirt roads littered with the bodies of villagers. Over 100 men and women, throats slit, blood staining their tunics, robes, stomachs opened, limbs slashed, missing. Standing over them, breathing heavily, 24 men and women, weapons clenched in their hands. They look to the man clutching the woman's head, their leader. Their leader speaks in German, subtitled, clean up the bodies, round up the surviving children. This will do. Go to black. Credits play as the screen now divides into two halves. On each, a different scene plays out simultaneously, jumping from century to century into other beheadings and slaughters until it comes into a brothel, and thus we are introduced to the ballerinas. Very different from what we saw.
Yeah.
I was going to say that wasn't half bad.
No, I mean, it's Shay Hatton who did the original one back in 2017. It was never intended to be a direct spin-off of John Wick, but just kind of aped in parallels, and it had its myth in the slaughter of all these assassins and whatnot. And I'll just say, it's a cheesy script, but I think it probably would have been better if it didn't have as much of the John Wickisms that they reincorporated into the script as.
So they don't try and make it its own thing enough while still existing in the universe. It feels too much like John Wick. Or too much like it's trying to be John Wick.
I think it's too much like John Wick 3 and 4, which I think hurts a little bit more, because this is where the John Wick 3 or 4, where John Wick can fall down a flight of stairs, an infinite flight of stairs, and then get up and be fine. And a lot of the assassins trained have such endurance that they can be body slammed and still get up and walk away without much issue. So you mitigate the stakes that way. But to Jeff's point, he's 100% correct, where when you have Ana de Armas fighting any guy, that guy is pretty much kicking her butt, and she has to use all these other tools to cheat and balance out the the fight, which is kind of what you
Right.
want.
Right. I mean, that would be more accurate, right? We're not talking Black Widow here in comic books in the Marvel Universe.
Correct, because we haven't seen Black Widow be balanced since her debut in Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
Since then, she's always been kind of like kicking an alien butt as if it's not much of an issue. And
She would have had her arms ripped out in the Avengers when she jumped onto the Chitauri rocket sled or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
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 I do like that movie.
Like, heck, Blade got his shoulder dislocated when he did that with a subway car in the first film.
I need to go back and watch that. Blade is a really good movie. No nostalgia needed. It's just movie kicks ass.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching something with I was watching Duster, and Donald Logue was in that. I was like, holy shit, I can't believe that's the same actor from Blade. Like, he doesn't even look the same anymore. He looks more like Donald Logue when he's all burnt up in Blade than he does nowadays.
Wow.
I know. You got to watch Duster, though. Even though I hate J.J. Abrams, it's a damn good show. Trace, though, thank you very much. I do agree, though. There are possibilities with James Bond, but I guess inherently my issue is we don't need to take a franchise and expand it. Sometimes the franchise
that's true
is
too.
the franchise.
Just make something its own thing. It doesn't have to be connected to anything else. I totally agree with that as well. I'm just saying, like, if you want to have a black 00 agent, it's not James Bond. It's fine. It could be anybody else. But we also know, I know there was a comment before, somebody saying of when 009 was killed. Yeah, well, so was 006, right?
Yep.
You know, but
he really died.
The 00 designations aren't specific to a name necessarily, but we know 007 as being James Bond. So don't try and pull some nonsense and, well, now we have a female 007. It's not James Bond. Yeah, I know what you guys are doing. Okay, like, I'm not retarded. All right, like,
you didn't watch the last one, did you?
I haven't seen the last two. I haven't seen Spectre yet either.
So, okay, Spectre I think is worth your time because Spectre makes it like a classic James Bond movie where they clearly are playing into the fantastical elements. Like in the opening of the movie, he falls off of a building and lands on a couch and he like looks around and he's like, what the hell? So like from that moment on, it's very much like tongue in cheek. Mm-hmm. But in No Time to Die, they make Lashana Lynch Black 007. And you could tell
because he's no longer part of MI6 in that one, and so they gave it to But you can tell that the filmmakers realized that there would be a ton of outrage, so they wrote like he comes back and she gives it to him and says, "You're the real 007 anyway." It's like you're damn right.
But it's like one of those lines of dialogue. Like I was watching the show called The Rookie, and there's the scene where the guy's like, "I'm sorry, I'm a white man. I don't understand what I'm talking about." Blah blah blah. And it's like clearly the writers trying to like push on a message. In No Time to Die, they're like, "Oh, we're sorry that we went this far, but it's too late to fix it. So he's really 007, and we're never going to address this again. And she's just some chick." Like they did that, and it was very, very blatant.
It's also cowardly.
It was cowardly. They shouldn't have done it anyway.
Yep.
Now Tracy got me wanting to go watch some James Bond. I was watching Goldfinger earlier to check out the discs, so maybe I'll go watch From Russia with
I haven't watched any of them in a really long time. I think the last James Bond movie I watched was when I finally sat through all of Skyfall.
I don't dislike that movie.
I don't either after watching it at home and not at a midnight showing in which I was falling asleep.
I saw it twice in theaters back in the day. That was my fabled 2012, folks, where I saw 54 different movies, but went to the movie theater like probably closer to 60 times because I saw Avengers 4 times that summer. I was pumped. I'm not embarrassed. I loved that movie, and every time I put it on, I'm like, yep, I still remember why I liked it. Dr. Coffindales, I remember why I like you. Thank you for joining us. He says, Jason Todd saved Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and the entire world in Superman Annual number 11. And this is the motherfucking thanks he gets?
And yet he still sucks. So that's what he gets, yes. Having one good issue in an annual, I'm sorry. If your one good moment is in an annual, it don't count.
I know I'm in the minority, but I love annuals, and like one of my dream comic book jobs would be to draw a Spider-Man annual. Like, yeah, I'd love to draw a mainline title and want to, but it'd be really cool if like, here's an annual, do whatever you want. All right, I got tons of ideas. Like, I would love to do a random summer annual because I collect those. Like, my favorite issue of Spider-Man, one of them is the first annual where he fights the Sinister Six. I love annuals. That and movie adaptations are my favorite comics to collect.
Oh, movie adaptations are fun because sometimes they go vastly different direction than what the actual movie was because of so much changes between when they were told this is a story, so got to work on drawing it versus oh yeah, we've had to do some changes and rewrite and reshoot. I remember the Batman Forever adaptation. That was slightly different.
Yeah, Batman 89, Alexander Knox is poised to be Batman. Like, Batman drops off his armor or suit onto Knox, and people think, like, you're not really Batman. Like, that's how he gets away. It's a much different ending.
Yeah.
I love it. Hell, Star Wars has Jabba the Hutt in the original version.
Yeah.
I was reading that the other day. In my mornings now, I've been reading the Star Wars newspaper strips, but once I ran out of those, I read the recolored editions of the movie adaptations, and I love Howard Chaykin, but that is not the greatest comic book I've ever read. But he's an all-time great.
You mean it?
What, that I like Howard Chaykin? I'm 100% not sure I mean that. His artwork is the tits. Enrique Vasquez, thank you very much for joining us. He says, Hail, High Council. Couldn't they use 006 since Alec is dead and still in the same universe? He could be any color and wouldn't need, since it wouldn't be a new, wait. And he could be any color since it would be new. And he asked for a detention button. Oh, yeah, I'll press the button for you. Of course. Yeah, it could be 006. It could be anybody. Mm-hmm. As long as they don't just make James Bond some random black dude or some random Asian dude or something like that, you can make it. Have 001 be a chick. Have 002 be an Asian guy. Have 003 be a black guy. 004 an Indian. 005 whatever. Because you could even write it into the story like, well, we need different people to infiltrate different parts of the world. And like, you should probably have like 3 Asian.
That's not that hard of a sell.
It's not that hard, and the British Commonwealth still has close ties to the colonies that have become their own independent countries. So you could still pull away from that. I mean, I'm a Canadian. I can get a British passport pretty easily.
Can you get one that says Seymour Butts on it? Because that'd be pretty cool if you could.
Wow.
I mean, I could.
It's not expecting.
That's not how that really works. But yeah, sure.
Grade level.
I have to get my name legally changed.
I mean,
what the hell?
No one... shit happens, man. It's late, kind of. We're having a good show.
Next thing you know, you're going to be saying, what about Big E Langston, right?
He's just Big E these days, sir. But, Enrique, here is your button right here.
You had enough yet?
No.
That's another one.
So?
You just say the word, I'll keep going.
Go.
Eeny, meeny, miny.
Mo.
Your mother was a...
Ho.
He was a famous clown.
Bobo.
Mitch, cut it out.
That's a great movie. Enrique, when you come to visit, we should have some beers and watch that film. I'll buy a copy because it's worth owning.
One of the most brilliant parodies of every teen movie ever.
I met a couple of those actors at horror cons, and they all had pictures from that film. Because it's like, yeah, I've been in this and that, but I really want to talk to you about not another teen movie. And Chris Evans is in that movie. It's one of his better films. I love it. They do everything right, that film. You know, nowadays we don't really have a lot of parody because modern entertainment's pretty much a joke in itself. But I'm all about that not another teen movie.
Yeah, we got a new Naked Gun coming out. That
all new trailer too.
Yeah, it's looking okay. Yeah.
The second trailer wasn't as funny as the first one, but I'm still as interested.
Me too. I mean, it is using, oddly enough, it's using an Austin Powers joke, but instead of shadows, it's infrared.
What was the joke? I guess I missed it.
Oh, there's someone spying on Frank Drebin Jr. in his apartment, and he's standing there, and it looks like Pamela Anderson is going down on him, but when we see the actual shot, she's just cleaning out his oven.
Yep, I love it, Austin Powers, when they're like, freeze, and he stands up and she drops the bag. It looks like he shit himself.
Yeah. It's pulling out rope and a rat and everything.
Yeah. And then the smoke grenade goes off. She's like, "Ooh, smelly," and the guy starts to puke. I love the second Austin Powers movie is just chef's kiss. I had to actually do it, even though you folks can't see me. Speaking of chefs, since this is in the news and we thought we'd keep it relevant, Anne Burrell died. Did you guys see this today?
Oh,
no, I did not.
Yeah, she passed away. She was only 55. They found her body this morning. This news is so fresh that they don't even have a cause of death yet. So, folks, if there's anything that breaks on Thursday, we'll talk about this. But I don't ever cover this on the channel, but I like to cook a lot. Pretty good at it. And I watch a shitload of Food Network. So, R.I.P. Anne Burrell. You were one that I watched quite a bit.
I really hope it isn't something she ate.
Oh, that's horrible.
Wow.
I mean, no, because that's just bad irony for a chef. I mean, I'm guarantee you she didn't prepare the meal if it was something that she ate, but
Wow.
No, actually, it's just a really good joke, but I don't know, man. I have no clue what happened to her. I'll be following it because 55 is not a very old age to pass away at. So
no, that's still relatively young with our current status as a first world nation. It's like that's still like that's your new middle age technically.
Thank God, I'm only 36. I don't feel like I've missed the boat yet anymore.
Yeah, 30 years ago, 36 was considered middle age.
Yeah, it's like, why don't you have kids in a retirement? You're ready for retirement. Excuse me. It's like, well, nowadays I don't have to worry about that. I can play a video game and not be embarrassed. Like when I hung out on a toy stream the other night with shout out to my friends over on the 3POA podcast. They hit episode 100 and Laser Pants Bobby and the crew had me on. Yeah, it was a great time. Loved it. So we had a fun time, but I was the youngest guy there, and these guys are collecting toys left and right. So it is an every man's age game. It's not young people that are collecting toys. It's dudes older than me that have every Transformer ever, or Articulated Chad has like every G.I. Joe. Well, he doesn't have every G.I. Joe. He's got a lot of them. Shout out to Articulated Chad. Look, those guys are diehard Joe fans. Like,
I believe
Articulated Chad is such an interesting Joe fan to talk to. He makes me want to buy G.I. Joe toys every time I stream with him. I'm like, do I start collecting G.I. Joe? The answer is no, because I won't stop. I really want to get a USS Flag and all that shit. That'd be cool. So, guys, what we're going to talk about next. Oh, let me pull up an image of this. Now, we love cross-promotion here on the channel. We love to talk about entertainment, getting its merchandise. But sometimes there's a few, I don't know, decisions that make me question what were they thinking. And so the good people over at Little Caesars have done a crossover with Marvel, and we have a Fantastic Four pizza. Now, I'm not trying to make anyone hungry. I'm not trying to go on about, pizza.
Well, now I want pizza, so screw you.
I want pizza too, even though I had.
But not from Little
ago.
Caesars.
No. Yeah. Oh, that I could get that.
What, Little Caesars?
No, the pizza with four sections like that. Yeah.
It doesn't look bad. The only thing I wanted to comment on is Little Caesars is known as like bargain discount pizza. The hot
I'll go
the
to a freaking grocery store and grab like a DiGiorno or a Red Baron, spend $1.50 more, and be happier about my life.
My question though is, why is Marvel going with Little Caesars of all places in the world? Like, you couldn't team up with Pizza Hut or Domino's.
Cheaper advertising, probably.
No, if anything, Little Caesar would be paying for the cross promotion to license Marvel for putting up sales. That's usually how it works. Is the studio doesn't go to the food corps and say, "Hey, can we put our things on your thing to help promote our movie?" The food corps go to them and say, "Hey, we want to license your property for our product." And I would probably say that Little Caesars is probably the only one that needs this business or thinks this will help their business, because your bigger chains like your Pizza Hut, your Domino's, they're not interested, possibly because they know the zeitgeist of the audiences doesn't care for this anymore, unless did Domino's or Pizza Hut, did they throw in with Superman and they don't want to have a conflict of interest? I don't know. I haven't seen other pizza stuff. I go to some local shops around here where I can get a 13-inch for about $12 and everything on it. So I mean, that's a pretty sweet deal. So
Yeah, I support my. Hey, I'll give a shout out to him because no one's gonna go there. Queen City Pizza in Cincinnati is my favorite pizza. So, folks, if you go to Queen City Pizza, just tell them Jeff sent you, and they won't know who the hell you're talking about. But
they will eventually one day.
yeah, I'll be like, I'll go in there. I'll be like, hey, has anybody told you that Jeff sent them? They're like, yeah. I'm like, I'm Jeff. I like your pizza. Thanks, man. I don't want anything for free. Just, maybe some extra cheese next time. No, they do a great job. No, all joking aside, though, I just saw this and I was like, I guess I equate Little Caesars with cheap and shitty. But the comment you made about, them knowing the zeitgeist, I don't think this Fantastic Four movie is going to be a hit. I keep getting this feeling in the pit of my stomach, like this is the next Dial of Destiny or the Marvels. It just, everything I see from it makes me kind of roll my eyes, and it has nothing to do with Pedro Pascal and his comments. It's just, the Fantastic Four is such an archaic franchise that I don't know if it really will resonate. They're explorers. What do we explore anymore? What do we...
Yeah.
It's a cursed franchise in film. I mean, it just is.
It is. And their comic books don't. It's not like the comic books do well. Like, they're about to start a new ongoing over at Marvel. I think it's next month. And to be fair, the creative team on it looks interesting. And I'll pick up the first issue, mostly because one of my favorite artists, Humberto Ramos, is on interiors. And I'm a big fan of his work. So I'll check it out. But the last time I had read a Fantastic Four or Fantastic Four related book was when Human Torch had a solo back in the 2000s. Like, that's how long it's been, because I just don't actually care about the Fantastic Four. I like Johnny Storm. This is hot, but Reed is more interesting when he's the maker. And Thing is, I mean, I appreciate his characterization, but I just don't care enough about the team as a whole. Like, that's one of those things that I don't know, and this is to Script's point as well. I don't know if you can, and I don't mean this in the stupid culture war definition of it. I don't know if you can properly modernize it to make it to where it still works. Right? Because the whole deal was, the exploratory stuff and breaking new ground and all these things. Like, man, we're not breaking new ground in superhero stuff anymore. I'm sorry. There's not much more ground to break. I don't think there's any ground left. Or at least nobody's thought of it yet. Mm-hmm. And so combine that with how the dynamic works with those characters. I think that's one of the reasons why, and it was a gamble on their part for them to make this a throwback to where it's like, yes, it's an alternate Earth, and so it's taking place in a past time, right? I think that was a gamble, and on paper, I think it was the right way to go, at least in terms of making it feel like Fantastic Four. But the flip side of that is, I don't know how much of an audience that's going to actually have. I would love for the movie to actually be good. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I'm pretty positive that this whole, Vanessa Kirby's Sue is the lead and this, and it's all about her. That's probably about as overblown as the stuff with like D&D movie and other things, that it's all lip service. It's more the Reed Richards casting that annoys me and is a turnoff for this film. But I just think from a visual standpoint and everything else that's involved with this specific Marvel franchise, I just don't know if you can make that work these days. I really don't. Unless you're, it'll have its pockets, right? You'll have people that love Fantastic Four just as a franchise. And if they do a good job at the movie, they'll love that movie. But F4, I don't see as being something you're going to get on that wide scale, because there's not as much wiggle room to really work with that I can think of. And maybe that's just, limitations in my own creativity, and maybe also some just limitations to my Fantastic Four knowledge, to be fair. I just don't see it happening.
I think that one of the reasons that the Fantastic Four has been cursed in live action media is because they are looking at it as a superhero genre where really it should be more of a Swiss Family Robinson take. It's some type of problem. They're explorers. I mean, going to going to the island to find like the mole man, because they've traced a whole bunch of the seismic activity that's been happening in various parts of the world to the source being this location, and then exploring to try and find out what it is, as if it's like a problem. I mean, as weird as it is to say, do you remember that terrible movie called The Core, where they had to go down to Earth's core to stop all these from the planet from blowing up? The Fantastic Four would be in a story like that, and that would work for what the Fantastic Four is. The Fantastic Four is not really the type. Like you have the stories where they fight Doctor Doom, or they
Galactus and whatnot,
or Namor or something, but those are not the stories that really fit best into what the Fantastic Four dynamic is.
Those are few and far between.
It's a soap opera, with a fantastical science fiction veneer.
Yeah.
And those stories are limited in a live action form. Like, I mean, you have more latitude with comic books because you can stretch out a story. You can go inside the heads of the characters for a complete issue if you want. And you can get like a 4-part issue that takes place over the course of a single day, but you got 4 perspectives on it, like a Rashomon or a Vantage Point take on a simple plot. For film, I mean, you have Reed Richards, who's a scientist, world's smartest man. So now you have to have plots that require testing his brilliance. You then have Sue Storm, who, because of her force field powers and her invisibility, she is probably the most deadliest of the team, because when she gets converted into malice, like the Fantastic Four can't even stop her. So she has that power, but the thing is that she is the glue that keeps the family together. It's like it's Johnny's her brother, so there's no separation there. Rita's her husband, so that's that. And then she's the pseudo mother and comfort, like pseudo sister to Ben Grimm, who needs that support that he's just not getting anywhere else, because he's having trouble reconciling with him being the thing. And even with Alicia Masters involved, Ben does go to Sue to try and get certain perspectives on things when he's got his own doubts about being with this beautiful blind artist. The thing is that you have to be careful how you do that, because even in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, you had this movement where you kind of realized that the mom is kind of in charge of the house, even though the dad is the breadwinner. Like because he's so occupied with making money and keeping everything in order, keeping all the the lights on, the clothes and food is there. It's the mom that's doing all the management of the part here, and it's part of the partnership. But at the same time, it's like when your wife's upset, you're not going to have a good day. And I think the marketing, at least with the interview side of things, what the trades are pushing for, is they're obfuscating that relationship to make her higher on the hierarchy, as opposed to what her role is in regards to the family. It's like, listen, you can go pretty far pissing off mom, but she always has that one power move in her back pocket, which is wait till your father gets home, right? And if she has that power, that means that she definitely has a little bit more power than the dad, because the dad has a different approach to solving a problem than the mom does, and you'd rather deal with that problem than have her basically say, okay, honey, go let loose on the kids. And you have to just think about, well, what's the dynamic there, right? So with Fantastic Four, the question you have to ask is, well, what are the stories that are going to best service the family dynamic? How can you do it so that it actually, resonates with people? Brad Bird was the only one that kind of nailed it with The Incredibles, and the reason he was able to pull that off is that he made it a spy movie with superheroes. And he kept that family apart until the third act, where they all came together to be a superhero team. This one here, we're not getting an origin story as far as I can tell, but I think we're also getting something that is a big mistake when it comes to movies, which is an extended time frame of how long they've been superheroes in this. Remember, this is not the world outside your window Marvel that we've seen so far. This is an alternate, more idealized world. with the 1960s aesthetic, maybe even in the 1960s, a parallel Earth where, yeah, all the things that we would say, oh, that would never happen in reality. Well, it's happening in this alternate reality. And that's the ask that they're requesting you to buy into. And we are already getting enough illusions and leaks suggesting that this reality will not exist after this movie, and that Fantastic Four coming from that idealized perfect society of sorts, entering into the new MCU, will probably have a lot of things to say about how messed up our world is.
Yeah.
So it's gosh, I mean, I look at the Fantastic Four and I basically call it the Fantastic Four problem, where it worked in the 60s as a comic book. It kind of worked as a cartoon in a few forms, but they're all short-lived. Like they never had lasting power.
Right.
And I think they might be into the part where, as adaptable as they are, they might not be able to cross into that part of the mainstream of the live action mainstream.
It's been too long since they've been relevant, in my opinion.
It has been, and again, it's like they wrote them to be fantastic characters, and it takes a lot of brain effort to basically try and challenge them for that, because you have Thing, who he's not the strongest of all the MC Marvel characters, but he's got the strongest
He
heart.
did knock out the Hulk one time, but that was in the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah, but like he can fight the Hulk, but he'll never beat the Hulk 100%. But he'll also never give up, and that's something cool there. So you have to get really creative with how do you defeat the Fantastic Four? How do you put in stakes for the Fantastic Four? Is there so much? I mean, there's just so many elements of what that family can do that really does take the wind out of the sails for what sort of conflicts you can provide. And the other part too that I would also find is that you have essentially like a very obvious waiting game, because you have Sue Storm being incredibly powerful with her force fields. You have Reed Richards being the smartest man on the planet, so he's going to figure out a way to solve this. You've got Ben Grimm, who's incredibly strong. I mean, heck, your weakest link is Johnny Storm, because he can fall for reverse psychology like it's a sack of potatoes, and really throw a wrench into a lot of plans that the rest of the team are doing. But that in itself just feels like a contrivance as opposed to a dynamic way where you're dealing with wits. Gosh, I mean, yeah, like Fantastic Four is a hard nut to crack. It really is. And I feel sorry for a lot of people working on this film, because even with the marketing, even with the casting, and the fact that they've already showed us, like, yeah, we're gonna be going over a period of Sue Storm going through a pregnancy, giving birth, naming their kid, and then trying to protect that kid in addition to the rest of the planet when Galactus approaches. That's a long time to wait. And essentially, it's not going to feel like waiting on the surface, but subconsciously, audiences are going to be sitting in there and be like, oh, it's a mid-act. We find out Galactus is coming, but we already know that Franklin's been born because of leaks of the advertising of the toys and all the merchandise.
Yeah.
So there's no real urgency. The ticking clock is maybe months, if not years away. And when you have that much time, it becomes something that's no longer on the forefront. And when it's not in the forefront, you kind of forget about it. When you kind of forget about it, you kind of become disengaged with that plot point. And no matter how many times you remind them, you're still feeling like, well, yeah, but they got all this time. Wouldn't it be more thrilling, it'd be more edge of the seat if it's like, oh, Silver Surfer comes in. Yeah, your planet's going to be eaten in the next 48 hours. Bye.
Your planet has 5 minutes.
Yes,
Thanks.
like you
For
want
those
to do
who,
that.
watch
Urgency
Dragon
is
Ball.
incredibly important with stories, especially if you want to have especially if you have big stakes and you want to make something very difficult for your main characters. You want to reduce the amount of time they have to solve the problem. You want to put them in trust. You want to suggest to the audience that this team is going to fail. But from the advertising, from the commercials, I suspect that they're going to lose their Earth, but it's also going to be kind of tragic that Reed Richards has got around a year to try and solve this problem, and he can't do it. And even for a massive amount of fiction that Fantastic Four is, that is still starting to stretch credulity here, because if he's Reed Richards, could he find another planet and basically just either convince Galactus to eat that one instead, or relocate all of humanity over there? Like, if he has a year, he's smart enough to organize a means to do that. He's like, here are the blueprints for every country to start building spaceships. And,
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about Batman with prep time. Reed Richards' IQ is far above Bruce's.
yeah. And, yeah.
Could Batman still beat him, though? You know, fans will say yes.
Batman fans will certainly say yes.
That's a tough one. Because, again, Reed Richards, as smart as he is, his knowledge isn't really in type of tactics or strategy. It's science and general problem solvings. And also, he is far more obsessed on a singular problem than Batman is, because Batman, he's determined, and his determination is often conflated for obsession. But I think the other part too is Batman would be the type who can exploit Reed Richards' distractions. But because Reed Richards isn't indestructible. Like, he can't, like, he's literally rubber. Like, you can shoot him and then they don't.
I guess unless you're the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, unless you're the Scarlet Witch and you put him into spaghetti.
And you turn her into ramen. Pop ramen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would say that anything Batman does to try and disable Reed Richards will eventually free himself, and then they'll just be back over. It might just be kind of like that infinite loop type of situation. Because he can't. I mean, he could punch at Reed Richards all he wants, but he's rubber, so he's just gonna be absorb it, whatever. So unless
can he super cool him?
Yeah, he could probably like get him with like a freeze gun, one of Mr. Freeze's gun, and freeze him.
That would make him the victor.
Yes, it would.
Womp 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 womp. I should have. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go back and press that button now that you said that. That hurt. It hurt my soul just a little bit too much.
I mean, he's technically done that to Plastic Man and Elongated Man. I think he has frozen them.
Mm-hmm. And as power levels go, Plastic Man is far more powerful than Reed Richards, I would say.
But he's not smart. So
no,
knowledge is power.
He's
man.
definitely not. Yeah. He's definitely not Reed Richards' levels of intelligence. He's not an idiot, but he's kind of dumb.
But he's also very clever, because some of the ways that he disguises.
He's very wily.
Yeah, he's wily. He's adrenaline powered intelligence.
He's wily and wiggly.
I saw one where he turns into a chair and a lady sits on him and then he smiles. I was like,
I saw one where he turned into a dress and I think Big Barda wore him.
That's amazing. If DC plays their cards right, Plastic Man could be their Deadpool. But...
Right.
And it has to be played by Nick Cage.
No, they already been trying to make Harley their Deadpool for years now. They've just made her a more insufferable female version of Deadpool.
She's just like a roller derby lady. That's what she is.
Yeah, and those aren't fun anymore.
They always had shitty attitudes. Go to HorrorCon and talk to them. They're mean. Enrique Vasquez has a question for you, Script. Have you heard anything about the King of the Hill reboot, good or bad?
Oh, no. I mean, I saw their opening credits that they released a week or so ago. I liked that. It looked cool. I can totally believe that if Mr. Strickland told Hank he's got to go to Saudi Arabia, he would go for him.
Yep.
And maybe the only reason he comes back is either he retired or Mr. Strickland passed away and he's now the manager of Strickland Propane. I don't know. I'm excited for it because I really liked what Mike Judge did with his Beavis and Butthead revival, especially Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe. I thought was brilliant. So I'm hoping that level of quality transcends into King of the Hill, because I enjoyed King of the Hill for what it was. Because you had Peggy Hill, who's a character you kind of love to despise.
Yeah.
You have Dale, who is brilliant, and then of course Bill Dauterive he's probably like my most favorite of the underdogs.
I love King of the Hill. I've seen a little more than you have, A couple of clips have been released. There was a few videos that were leaked from a screening they did in Austin, and everything I've seen, I'm on board for. It's captured the spirit of the original, and I can't wait till, was it August 3rd is when it comes out. Like that is a guaranteed day one watch for me. I'm gonna stop everything I'm doing and watching King of the Hill, because I watch King of the Hill on most of my lunch breaks. Currently,
I would call that an endorsement.
Yeah, it's hard to hate King of the Hill because they've never done a bad season. Hell, they've only done one episode I don't even like that much. So that's good for 13 seasons and only having 1 minute episode.
That's a pretty good ratio, all things considered.
Yeah. Sorry, Mrs. Wakefield, you suck. But yeah, Enrique, I'm excited for King of the Hill. And script, I agree that the Beavis and Butthead revival has been every bit as good as I'd hoped it would be.
Yep, I like the fact that you've got the teenage versions in current day, and then we get the alternate universe where they're in their 40s and 50s.
The one where they try to go on Social Security disability is one of my favorite ones.
Yep.
God, it's like when it's like when Homer Simpson tries to gain a bunch of weight to get on disability. Dad, towel rack.
I also like the Beavis getting the kidney.
Did I watch that one? Shit.
Oh God! They bring back the guy that was
Stuart.
Stuart, yeah.
Yeah, I did watch it. Him in his winger shirt.
Yep. Beavis didn't want the kidney, so he burst it again.
That show is so dumb. I love
What
it.
the hell?
Oh yeah, he's like, he doesn't want to lose her kidney.
You know what show I don't think would work as a revival is Daria. I don't think the climate's right for Daria anymore.
Too cynical. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it would be everything we hate.
It would only work if Daria was actually commenting on everything we hate as that she hates it.
But do you think that would be the case? I think it would be the opposite, where you're just like,
I think
the way they do it would be the opposite for sure.
The way, well, I mean, it's still technically a Mike Judge thing, right? But did he sell everything off it completely when they spun off?
He doesn't really have anything to do with Daria. Like, it's credited to some lady, and I don't think he wrote a single minute of anything on that show.
Yeah, because I mean, when I look at Daria, I could see her being the type that would actually hate what's going on, because she'd be the type where a lot of the motivation was the stuff that I would actually think would work, but we're not mature enough to make it work, which is why it all sucks. and then of course her sister, the cheerleader, would probably be very much a ditzy. Still the ditzy girl, but I wouldn't know what type of side she'd be on. Maybe she'd be an OnlyFans model. That's what she'd be.
Quinn Morgendorf for OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. And those, never mind. I'm not going to write that fan fiction. That's gross.
No, we're not going to. I think that's where we have to stop it from there.
Yeah, I was like,
good night, everybody.
No, our friend Darian217. Thank you very much for your generous super chat. Darian says, regarding problem solving, having more time, you can work endlessly and not solve a problem. When you are pressed for time and under pressure, you can sometimes find that burst of inspiration and solve something you couldn't with more time.
Yep.
I agree with that.
That is the thing.
Yeah.
I may or may not have done some of that in high school. I was like, oh shit, or college. I got to write a paper. No, when it came to writing papers, I would get the prompt. I'm like, let's just knock this out early. And then I would even email it in early. The teacher would be like, you have time for this. I'm like, yeah, but I'm done. I'm just calling it a day.
Yep.
No, Darian, I agree. I especially agree with some of the art I do. It's like, oh man, I need to get this page done today. Well, what are some creative ways to balance out the panel so it doesn't seem like it's disjointed or help the composition? And, that always helps me, because I've worked on covers that it's like, oh, you got until the end of the month, and it's like, beginning of the month. So I'm like looking at it, changing it. It's like I might spend 45 minutes just changing like a ponytail or something. But on like a day where I really need to get shit done, it's like, how can I creatively do this? So I agree that time really does help.
Oh, deadlines are great. they can also be the bane of your existence, but they're also pretty good because they light a fire under you.
Yeah, I've been writing down like so many pages a week, and I have to hit this goal and this number, and I have been lately, and it makes me pretty happy. Like, you feel a sense of fulfillment, even though I'm my own boss.
I mean, I have colleagues that are like deadline writers, so they get assignments and they're like, yeah, 6 weeks to finish this, 300-page book. And I know that the book is going to be boilerplate, but if they end up doing it on their own and they gave themselves like a deadline of like a year, the book would be phenomenal. And that's the big difference. Like, I love my friends who do that stuff, but even when I read the thing, I'm like, you've just repeated a half dozen of tropes that you've done all over your work for all the other deadline assignments you've done. You've just reworked it to fit this mold. And, it's an interesting read for a short novella, but holy crap, man. Like, I know you can do better, but he's like, yeah, but I've only got 6 weeks and this pays the rent. And you're like, yeah, oh man, you just feel their pain when they're in that point. And then every once in a while when they'll pitch me an idea, it's like, yeah, don't sell that, write it. And I will give yourself this deadline, like 10 months or a year, because you'll be a much better story for you guys in that regard.
Andrew, how do you like to work? Do you like a lot of time, or do you find that, when you're under the gun, you can get some good shit out there?
It depends, because I can pivot and be pretty flexible, and do either way. Ideally, I like being able to kind of take my time with a project, but what I'll do is I'll set like intermediary deadlines for myself of like, okay, I still want to have X amount or have, reached this point in a project by this day. That way I'm not falling into the trap of just like, oh yeah, I'll just take my time, I'll think about it, right? Because I want to still actually be making progress, but I want that progress to be meaningful, and I want that progress to have intention behind it. But on the other hand, I can, like, there are some times where it's like, hey, there's something gets dropped in my lap and it's like, I need this done tomorrow. Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna put on that shirt and that hat today. And we're gonna make it work, and we're gonna make it work to the best of our ability, given the time constraints that we have. That's the sweet spot, is probably somewhere in between, because you want to have enough time to where you feel like you're able to really, because the first thing that comes into your head for something isn't always the best thing, right? Sometimes you flip it over, turn it around, whatever, and you can refine that. Maybe it was a decent idea, but you can refine that further and make it better if you have the time to do so. And so that's ideal. But saying like, hey, I'm going to take a whole year to do this one project or whatever, and it's a project that in all honesty, you could probably do in a month, right? That's the other extreme. So yeah. I don't have a problem with having deadlines. I don't have a problem with having a little bit of time to work with as well. Like I said, ideally there's like a Goldilocks zone there to where it's like, I can still have it, because there is something to be said about a sense of urgency, right?
Oh, in the writing process, yeah. Like, the thing is, you also want to give yourself time to cleanse your palate so that you can go back and find the mistakes that you didn't catch when you're writing.
Yes, absolutely. Because your eyes and your brain, our brains are super complex. They'll fill in things that aren't there and fix things that actually need
fixing, or they'll skip over mistakes because they already know the information, because they haven't divorced themselves from it enough. But the other part too is that sometimes, depending on the story that you develop, you will figure out what time you need to invest into that. Like, I have a friend, she's been working on her tentpole film for 9 years, but she's also written about a dozen scripts in between that point. And the tentpole thing, really great concept. The pages I've read for are phenomenal, but she's just taking too long, and she's not rewriting the stuff that she's written at all. She's actually like breaking everything down and getting it just right with its first execution. And then I joke with her saying, like, as soon as you're done, like, you get to the end, you do realize you're going to have to take like a 4-month break. And then when you reread it, you're going to probably rewrite that thing from page 1 all the way up there, and probably bang out a better version of it within a couple of weeks after. And she's like, God, I'm hoping. Because like, it's a very personal story to her. But yeah, like sometimes you'll have a story where you're like, okay, this has got a bunch of complex characters, but a very simple plot. And I got to make sure I organize these characters just right so that nobody gets lost in the weeds. That will take, I think with my writing habit, that will take X amount of weeks or X amount of months. And then after that, you got to take your break. You got to hand it off to some people that you trust for proper review, criticism, whatnot. Take it all in stride, and then give it another look and see, okay, how can I whip this thing into better shape? Or what do I need to change? What do I not need to change? There's a tactic that works pretty well, which is once you finish writing the script, wait a couple of weeks, and then without looking at the script, try and write the scenes all over again. And the stuff that you remember, is good, and the stuff that you don't remember, you got to work on. And then you just keep doing that until you get it to the point where you can remember the entire screenplay as you needed it to be. So that ideally, when anyone is reading it or when anyone is watching it, they are in that same boat where they're going to walk away and remember a ton of what you put into that film.
I rewrite at the end if I need to when I letter stuff or when I get it lettered. Like with Wokebusters, it was like, if you go back and look at what I promoted on the Indiegogo versus what people have in their hands, like none of that dialogue's the same. The whole premise changed. Like that's why I like writing, because as long as it doesn't betray what you have in the art, I think you can rewrite a lot of that stuff.
Yeah,
but I find that if I have too much time, I think when it comes to that, it's like I just keep reworking it till it makes sense and it flows. Like I want my stuff, even though the last book was 100 pages, I think it should be read in one sitting because it's just a quick read. That's how I like all my books that I buy myself, like comic book wise. I want to just sit down and read it. The first time I read Dark Knight Returns, I was at the library at school. They had it, and I just read the whole thing. I was like, wow. Like, it flows.
A book has to be pretty thick for me to not go through it in, like, one hit. Like, okay, I'm not going to read, like, this omnibus for The Flash in one hit, in one sitting. I got other things to do in my day. But that being said, something that's a, 200-page graphic novel or trade paperback collection, yeah, I can do that in one hit. Maybe with a meal break, and that's about it.
Yeah, I can read quite fast if I want to. I don't know. I listen to a lot of audiobooks and try to multitask when I'm drawing, so I can at least feel like I get the most bang for my buck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, comic books I find I can bang out pretty quick. I read a special that was 152 pages, and I must have read that in like 15, 16 minutes. It was just really quick. I looked at the art and saw the connections and stuff, but it was just such a fast-paced story. I was surprised how fast I was able to get through.
Okay, that's really fast. There must have been almost no dialogue and captions. 15 minutes for 150 pages. So a minute a page.
There was
no more than that.
There was a number of dialogue bubbles, but it wasn't in every panel. So yeah, you were able to kind of get through it pretty quick. And then there's a couple of silent scenes because it was like spy stuff. So you're watching the character move through. A nice little compound, which was really well done. But yeah, I was able to complete it 15 minutes or so, and then I reread it again afterwards to see if I missed anything. Didn't, but it was
is crazy fast. I usually, on average, will take about, depending on the thickness of the leaf floppy, I'll take somewhere between 12 and 18 minutes, depending on the size of the book and how much dialogue is in there. Because I really only get books if I like the art. Mm-hmm. And so I'm taking my time looking at, I really like how that panel layout was. That was a really cool dynamic part of that action sequence, things like that, and getting ideas and stuff. But that same amount of time for a 150-page book is crazy fast, man.
It depends for me, if I want to give it the full treatment where I think of an actor's voice and think of the sound effects. Sometimes I'll read a old Spidey. I'm like, all right, well, this book was printed in the 80s, so let's think of the cartoon voice from the 80s and just kind of go from there. And it makes it a little more, because sometimes I read these books 2 and 3 times and you're like, I'm reading it again, let's make it more interesting, even though I don't dislike it in the first place. So I have many different ways I read comics. I'm a creator after all. and a nerd first. Darian217 says Reed Richards could get the burst of inspiration to defeat Galactus as if he didn't. Sorry. Reed Richards could get the burst of inspiration to defeat Galactus as opposed if he has more time to study the problem endlessly as that pressure helps. Oh, you mean like the ultimate nullifier? That came up with that? Did he come up with that or did he get that from another dimension?
I cannot remember.
I think... So I was on this Fantastic Four kick late last year, and I got to the Galactus trilogy, and I was like, because like he just stretches his arm up and holds this thing in Galactus's face, and Galactus is like, "Oh God!" And when this giant man is gonna eat my planet, and there's like a silver dude coming down as a harbinger of doom, I expect a little more out of a story than, oh God, he's gonna click a remote in my face. Like I honestly think the Galactus trilogy is like a shit letdown. It's kind of lame to me, but
It was done better in the cartoon of Earth's Mightiest Heroes, I'll say.
that cartoon is awesome.
Earth's Mightiest Heroes, that show slaps.
It still does too. I went back and looked at an episode or two when I was I needed reference for something. I was like, you know what? Let's get myself in the right mood for the Avengers. And I put it on, and it works, man. I really don't love the theme song like other people do, but
Yeah,
other than that, I like that show.
No, I'm not a fan of the theme song, but the brilliance that they're able to condense like 4 decades of Marvel stories into like 2 seasons. Very impressive.
And it's so well acted too. I think my main critique of all these shows, though, is like I think the Wasp is annoying as piss. So the fact that she's such a big part of these shows, I just am like, shut up. But
Yeah, I think she was too childish and naive for what I'm familiar with her from the comics. Because she was like, "Oh, this isn't fun to be a superhero." It's like, well, Wasp is kind of like that, but not so innocent. And
All right.
yeah, but I mean, I like
Not like an 8-year-old just became a superhero.
Yeah, but their interpretation of Carol Danvers was way better than the comics and the movies. The stuff they did with Captain America was brilliant. Tony Stark, they really captured the comic stuff and then the mix of what Robert Downey Jr. brought to the role. Hawkeye was great. Nick Fury was awesome, and Maria Hill was fantastic in Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Like they just kind of nailed everything there for those guys. And also, I love T'Challa, the brilliant guy that would always like have a solution that would surprise Tony.
wasn't Phil Lamar T'Chaka in that or T'Challa in that show?
I think he was, yeah.
That's a good voice actor.
He is. A nut job upstairs, but a good voice actor.
Oh, I don't know anything about him, sadly. Or thankfully, I should say.
I was going to say, I don't know. Maybe it sounds like he dodged a bullet there.
He's a big equity guy. I'll put it that way.
Oh,
Which is funny because if I ever do a project where I'm hiring him, I'm going to pay him what the day player gets because he's equity.
Yeah, Samurai Jack was so cool too. Come on, Phil. Oh well. Swift -1, thank you very much for super chat. I can see Daria now. She is shocked / disillusioned that the world has gone beyond her, angrier than she was in the 90s. Initially pleased, it doesn't last. Sick sad world. I added that on, sorry. No, I think Daria would be like if you made a live action Daria in the modern age, it should just be Janine Garofalo bitching about stuff. That's what it is. It's just a stand-up bit. That could be kind of cool. Nah, not really. I don't want to see more Daria. Daria is a good show. I really loved it. I bought the discs. Big fan. But it's of its time. And I can't believe Beavis and Butthead have more to say about society than Daria. But they do. And King of the Hill is just the best one of all of them. So, guys, any Daria memories? I love the artwork. On this project I've been working on, this game that me and a partner have, he's like, the theme is 90s cartoons, so Daria was some of the inspiration for the ink work, and the color palette. So down the road, folks, when we launch that game, you'll be hearing about it. I'm going to Origins this weekend to do our first official, I don't know what it's called, not a play test, because we've done those for months. We're out of beta. It's deeper than that. But yeah, we're gonna take it publicly this weekend. It's exciting.
Nice.
Cool.
It's a big con. Like it'll have a lot of people show up this weekend. It's one of the biggest tabletop conventions around. So
That's awesome, man.
yeah, I'll post some stuff on social media, folks. We know we got a lot of game people that are involved in this community, so you guys will want to play it next year when it launches. TLJ Screwjob, thank you. Says going on vacation tomorrow, so I'll miss Thursday and next week's High Council. Anyway, in regards to Batman versus Mr. Fantastic, any death battle scenarios you'd like to see? Oh, got me on the spot here, man. Because I want to give you a good one. I don't want to give you some BS that's not world class, but and we've seen like Batman versus the Predator. We've seen Wolverine versus the Predator.
Nightwing versus Bucky.
O'Hare? No, I know you're talking about. What do I want to see as a crossover? Oh, here's a terrible one: Deadman and Beetlejuice. That'd be cool.
That's actually pretty not bad.
That would be interesting.
That's pretty not bad. Red Tornado and Vision.
Oh,
the
Mark
Ghost of
Manhunt
Carmen
and Vision would be
Infantino
more on equal footing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one could be good too. Yeah, Johns and Vision.
Ooh, let's see. TLJ Screwjob, I'm trying to give you another one, man. I'm gonna miss you this week. So, folks, make sure you say enjoy your vacation at TLJ Screwjob. Where are you going, TLJ Screwjob? I want to know. Is it Florida? Is it Disney? I don't really care. I don't judge. But have a good time no matter where you go, man. And be safe.
Icon versus Sentry might be okay.
Who?
Icon versus Sentry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, actually.
I'm trying not to give you wrestling crossovers like The Rock and Shawn Michaels. I want to see that match. No, let me look at the shelf.
Jasper versus Ghostbusters. Oh, wait, we kind of had that.
You're going to call somebody else. I would like to see, I know this is a terrible one that nobody would watch but me, is I want to see a Small Soldiers Toy Story crossover. Because,
that'd be cool.
like, I would love it to where it's like the Commando Elite are trying to kill the humans. Like, the chips go wild, and then Buzz Lightyear and crew have to break their code of becoming alive around people to save the kids. So you see, like, Chip Hazard and all of them, and they're, well, all of them, I know all their damn names, but it's Chip Hazard and Nick Nitro and the rest of the crew, and they got their death machines and their knives and all this shit, and Buzz Lightyear and Woody are like, what are we gonna do? And, like, RC comes out, and they try to stop the commandos. I'd be optimistic and have Buzz Lightyear win in the end, because,
you have to.
Yeah, I don't want to see Chip Hazard win.
What about Blue Beetle versus Venom?
Can Venom eat his brain at the end?
Sure.
Then yes, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle, not Ted Kord, because
yeah,
I liked that movie. I know it's unpopular, but
it was okay. It just
I haven't seen it still.
For a lot of people that are Latin and have, like, Hispanic heritage, they really made the dad not very Hispanic. He's always, like, sitting on the lawn drinking a beer. I'm like, I don't know a single Hispanic that cares about his family that would ever do that. He'd be working 3 or 4 jobs, trying to do everything he could for his family. So.
But what if it's a Cervezas Crystal and he needs some time off, man?
Oh no.
I don't know if that's what he was drinking there. That would be funny. But yeah, that was like the weakest part of the movie for me. I did like Zolo as Jaime. He was pretty good.
I liked him, and I thought the grandma was pretty funny at the end.
Oh, the grandma was great. Of course, the grandma would know how to fire a minigun.
Yeah, she was a revolutionary back in her prime.
Yeah.
What up, Sisyphus Prime? Welcome in. We're having a great time tonight. Here we go. Here's some ones. We got Solid Snake versus Agent 47. That'd be pretty
good
cool.
One.
That's actually pretty good. Yeah.
That's actually a really good one. I think Solid Snake would pull it out in the end, but Agent 47 would get real close. I think he'd take out Otacon for sure.
About Raiden versus Ryu Hayabusa from Ninja Gaiden.
I think Raiden would win because he's a god.
No, not Raiden from
Oh, Mortal Kombat. You're thinking of Raiden
from
like
Metal Gear.
Oh yeah. I'll go Ryu Hayabusa then, because
That is the
Raiden
correct answer.
sucked. Let's see. We got Mega Man versus Inspector Gadget. My money's on Inspector Gadget, even though Mega Man would smoke him.
Well,
Mega Man. Mega
Yeah.
Man would like replicate his gadgets, is what he would do.
You could.
But if he does that, Inspector Gadget will win because Mega Man replicates Inspector Gadget's gadgets. They go haywire. Mega Man doesn't know how to control it, and he kills himself. And Inspector Gadget just stands there like, okay, and that's it. Because he's Clouseau. He doesn't really ever solve anything. It's Penny and Brain that solve all the crimes. Gadget's just there at the right place.
He's the distraction. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of true.
Gandhi versus Lincoln. There we go.
Oh, Lincoln would kill him.
He was a wrestler. He would give Gandhi the people's elbow. He'd take off his hat, throw it into the crowd, cross his arms, bounce off the ropes. Bam! 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I played that match in SmackDown too many times. Pennywise versus Ronald McDonald. Pennywise. He'll eat Ronald McDonald's face.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say maybe Ronald McDonald gives him freaking diabetes and congestive heart failure.
That is a good one. Sorry, I'm just laughing at John Joseph's. But no, I think he could just keep feeding Ronald McDonald cheeseburgers that never decompose, and eventually he'll just stop floating and he'll sink to the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You no longer float down here.
That's a good movie. Nick versus Kendo in a fight. Ooh, you know what?
Gotta pick a friend now.
They're both close enough friends that it wouldn't alter my friendship to bet who would win in a fight. They're both fairly tough dudes, but Kendo is more proficient with weapons, but Nick would just run Kendo over with his car. So it really is like...
Okay, I wasn't aware vehicles were on the table.
Hey, if this is Grand Theft Auto, it doesn't matter how you kill people. It matters that you kill people. Like, in that game, there are so many missions where it's like, chase down the drug dealer and beat him up. It's like, no, I'm just going to run him over with my car and ride off, so... Oh, Bob Ross versus Mr. Rogers, they wouldn't fight. They would just, like, hug it out. They would shake hands. Bob Ross would paint a picture of Puppet Land. No, that's Pee-wee's Playhouse.
They'd probably get high and then paint together.
I want to hang out with those guys. Let Bob Ross teach me how to paint some happy little trees.
Yeah.
Now, we all know the answer to Dion versus Horse. That would be Horse, because Dion would run away. But Mr. Cleo is not afraid of horses, folks. So the all-seeing eye of Mr. Cleo would protect him from the horse. TLJ Screwjob has a question. Thank you for the super chat, TLJ Screwjob. Is there a more cursed adaptation than the Fantastic Four movies? Yes, the Twilight Zone film.
That or Don Quixote, any Don Quixote adaptation.
Was Jodorowsky trying to make a Don Quixote film?
I think he would have tried. I mean, it took Taram Gilliam like 30, 35, 40 years to make the one he made, and nobody saw it.
I like Terry Gilliam, but he's my least favorite Monty Python.
No, that's right.
However you
That's
describe him.
appropriate.
He's just kind of there.
Well, he's the American out of the bunch, so.
True, but yeah, okay, true. I'm an American. Should I have to shit on my own kind? Sorry, sorry, folks.
He has a sense of humor, but the thing is that he's not as involved as the other Pythons. Like they're more front and center, and they're there.
Who do you think is the best Python? I won't judge you, I promise.
It's a toss-up between Cleese and Palin.
I'd say John Cleese for sure. I really do like Eric Idle, but...
I like him too, but he's very much more of a supporting Python compared to, like, because Cleese and Perrin were, like, they fought for the attention. You could tell. And they did it out of love. Like, they didn't do it out of, like, I want to be better than you. They're like, I'm going to get this much out of you type of thing. Cleese has definitely done more because he also got Faulty Towers under his belt, and that show is brilliant.
I got it on disc the whole season, the whole series, because it's only one season. And he was in James Bond, so that was pretty cool too.
That's yeah. Michael Palin also did a couple of Around the World in 80 Days, and those were funny. And I know these are like actual like comedy documentaries he did, where he was trying to be serious, but he was always throwing in some jokes.
Now you just made me want. I mean, I brought this up, but now I just want to go watch Monty Python.
Yeah,
it's a great time.
I want to. I got to see Dead Parrots again.
Polly. That always makes me laugh like way too much. And I always think of that in Dumb and Dumber when they got the bird with the head taped on. I wish the kid would have just done that, but that would have ruined the illusion of the film.
You sold him my bird. He didn't have a head. I took care of it, Harry.
Pretty bird, yes, pretty bird.
Oh man, that is one of the most effed up things I've ever seen in a movie.
He sold it to Billy in 4C.
Duct taped the head on it. It's just.
I took care of it.
That's so messed up.
Yeah, Dumb and Dumber's great. Jim Carrey. That's a great movie. Samurai, you know what? It's great to have you back, though, man. What's up? Our background normally isn't black, and I'm normally on camera, but let's change the background. There we go. There's something
nice.
Colorful. Oh, have we caught everything up? Kendo versus Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Kendo would knock her ass out real quick. Kendo would. He calls her. Was it Phoebe Waller's bitch? Is what he calls her. Tom versus Cat Mario. Who's Tom? Like Tom
know.
Cruise?
I might be late to the party on this, but the background you have right now reminds me of the PS3 background on the home screen.
You know, I just found a looping GIF. That's all it is. I just like that's very tranquil.
Yeah, it made me think the
something a little
PS3
different.
home screen.
I could use this as a background, but it gets repetitive after. Here's one that gets really bad. Look at that one.
Yeah.
See, after like one loop, you're like, oh god. We also have this one. We should have used this for when we talked about Ballerina last week's script. But we forgot.
Yeah.
I
God, I'm still bothered by the. I always think it's dumb when you make assassin characters have tons of tattoos. Because, like, do you know who killed them? I didn't see their face, but they have this giant sword and angel tattoo between their shoulder blades.
Yeah.
That won't get you noticed.
Exactly.
That'd be like me trying to be a spy. Who was it? The giant dude killed her. It's like, oh, okay. I can't not. You see me in line at an airport, you know it's me. You see me at the grocery store, you know it's me. Like, I can't get away with anything, so I don't even try. Oh, Script Doctor versus J.J. Abrams.
Well, I'm at least a foot taller than him, so there's. I've got
Script
the
would
reach.
body him in writing and physically.
I'd take his wife too. Like,
oh, it's like I'm gonna beat your ass and take your woman.
Henry's gonna call me daddy. You see, the joke's on you guys, because if it's Script versus J.J. Abrams, and clearly I'm gonna be there in the corner of Script Doctor, I'm just gonna jump in and spear him because I'm like, fuck you for The Force Awakens. That's what's gonna be me. It's gonna be screaming at him the whole time.
And if ever there's like a moment where it looks, unlikely as it may be, where it looks like Abrams has the upper hand,
like
we
he's
just
hitting me
flash
over the
a-
head with a mystery
no, we
box.
just flash a lens flare in his eyes.
Oh yes. Ah, the mystery, the pain.
There, that's what that's like.
I'm gonna full JJ up into a mystery box. That's what I'm gonna do.
Ooh. It'll be like,
His finisher should be called the mystery box, though.
you just punch him in the balls. No, Script, when you fold him into the mystery box, it'll be like in the Phantom Zone in Superman. He spins out into space. He's in 2D.
Yeah.
Jeff versus VHS. And you like that scene in Office Space. We'll play the music. Okay, folks, here's the thing. I don't hate videotapes. I hate the idea that people are buying videotapes and disposable cameras to document the modern age. First off, you weren't fucking there when those were the technologies. They were there because that was the peak of humanity. Now we have digital cameras and 4K resolution. Why are you going backwards? And why are you nostalgic for a childhood you never had? You didn't live through it. It's stupid.
It's hipster crowd. It's hipster mentality is what that is.
It is.
Those
It's
people
also-
should stay home.
It's also they're jealous. They never got that stuff. Like I I loved filming stuff on the camcorder, the Canon or the Sony camcorder that you had in the day, where you didn't even have the flip out screen. You had to use the eyepiece itself.
It's just, it's weird to be like, I've looked at old pictures of Star Wars toys from the 70s, and I thought, man, that'd be cool to get that. Because I grew up in the 90s, we didn't really get play sets, and all the action figures had stupid poses, and they didn't make a lot of the characters. So I'd be like, yeah, I wish I could get some of those. But I didn't want to, like, go back to 1980 and get an AT-AT walker. Like, I got one in 97, and that was good enough for me. I love where we can have the same shared experience. Like, you walk into a GameStop and you and some guy are talking about Pokemon, and some younger kid comes up and starts talking about Pokemon. But like, if that kid went, "Oh man, I'm so nostalgic for the Game Boy Color," it's like, no, the fuck you're not.
No, you're not.
You couldn't even play
You
that at
weren't
night.
even
You had to sit under a lamp or play it in the day to see the game screen. Like, the stuff that people are so nostalgic for are just limitations. I'm sorry. I just am like, I find that so silly. But no, I don't.
Your
think
dad hadn't almost missed when that thing was still a thing. All right, so let's not pretend like you're nostalgic for something you were not alive for.
Like, anybody out there in the chat nostalgic for something you weren't alive for? I'm not going to make fun of you or be mean or anything. But I want an honest answer. I wonder what the appeal is, because I think, for what I think of nostalgia is like, you're nostalgic for a time in your life when you were carefree or free of a problem, or it was before a decision you made that you can't undo. But like, it's so bizarre for me to like, oh man, I'm nostalgic for Woodstock. I wasn't even born for 20 more years. Like, what?
I don't think you would. There's a lot of chlamydia going around at Woodstock. Like,
yeah, but there were pills for that, so it's a risk, hippies. Anyway, we're not going to get into that. Darian217 says, "We've reached the late night hours. Let's spice it up. Script Doctor, what can you tell me about Florence Pugh's boobs? Guess what, motherfucker button?" Well, let me get the button pressed, and then you can say, like, I think when you left the other day, Script, I had mentioned about your disappointment with Florence Pugh's boobs, and Nick and Dion could not stop laughing, so...
They're very sad. Like, you'll find better boobs at an airport strip club. I mean,
what airport has a strip club? Because I need to make sure my next connecting flight is out of that hub.
I don't know if it's still there, but there was one by Pearson International in Toronto, like, years ago.
Pearson International, got it.
Yeah.
Here's your button, Darian.
Guess what, motherfucker?
God, Joe Exotic, has he been pardoned yet? Can we fix that?
I don't know, but that was very useful thing during the pandemic to watch, because it's like, this cannot be real, and yet it is. God,
I watched it every episode. Dude, go back and watch our old content from 2020. We were into almost said Tulsa King, which I still like. Tiger King. We were into Tiger King back in the day.
People were pretty bored during the pandemic.
That's true.
Yeah, but you've never seen a guy like Joe Exotic before and it not be a parody of something else.
Yeah. I like how he's like, I do have a crime. I am a homosexual, blah, 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 blah. I just couldn't stop laughing at how direct he was.
And he was running for governor at one point, I think, right? Or running for office.
If he runs for governor of Ohio when he's freed from jail, he's got a couple votes. Not from me, but he's got a couple votes. Thank you, Sly C. Happy birthday. Yes, happy birthday. Happy birthday to everyone in the chat today. Happy birthday to Sisyphus Prime. Happy birthday to Miss Ninja Julian. Happy birthday to John Joseph. Happy birthday to everybody, folks. Enjoy your birthdays. What the context is, guys, is I meant to say Happy Father's Day to Dion, but I was like, Happy birthday, Dion. I was like, oh, wait, your birthday's not until November. And then we just kept happy birthday each other. There we go. Happy birthday, Kendo. We did text him. Oh, yeah, we did do the Tiger King logo, TLJ Screwjob. Thanks for reminding me. I've done 450 episodes of WCBS minimum, plus probably another 300 of these. Probably done over 1,000 live shows at this point. They all blur together. So if you guys remind me of them, thank you. Except you don't make up stuff like, remember the time you lit Nick's beard on fire? No, I don't. I don't remember that one. But folks, if you got anything weird to send in the wee hours, let me know before we hit that midnight hour, because we are going to close it up before then. But you're nostalgic for 80s babes. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Well, Kelly LeBrock, she looks good.
No,
We're going to do a bracket battle, hottest 80s ladies, one day.
Wow.
I hope she wins, personally.
There's a lot in there. Heck, you can even probably like it's Kelly LeBrock, other actors. Sybil Danning was super hot in the day.
I was just thinking of her.
Yeah. Stacey Hyduck. Now, someone mentioned earlier Lana Lang in the chat. Stacey Hyduck played Lana Lang, Supergirl. That woman's got, like, if you want to talk about like a perfect body compared to like Florence Pugh, where if you want to imagine what Florence Pugh's boobs look like, just remove Florence Pugh's eyes and mouth and replace her nose with a nipple, and her face is like the shape of her saggy, very flat, too close to the chest, no body, boob.
You can take words that usually elicit happiness and just make me want to go to sleep. No thanks. I'll roll over on this one. Nah, I'm good.
But if you ever see Stacey Hyduck's chests, my gosh, you will believe in God.
Let's yep. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Oh, this lady. Okay. What was I just watching her in?
She's been in a ton of stuff.
Yeah, I didn't watch her in any Danielle Steele stuff. You know, I'm world class, but I can't watch made-for-TV Danielle Steele movies. Did I watch Melrose Place? I've never seen it. Oh well, she's not.
She's been in a ton of like horror films back in the day. Luther the Geek was one. And
That's
that one
probably what
there,
I saw her in.
she has like full frontal. Like you're like, wow.
I mean, that'll always get me to. I watched a couple Friday the 13th movies on Friday the 13th, and I was like, oh, that's why people like these movies so much.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of reasons to like Friday the 13th. They're hysterical.
They are really bad, and I love it. Especially the first one that's trying to be serious is not, and I don't. It's one of the weaker ones. Now we had a Clone Geek had asked us to check out an email. He sent me a link about how Spider-Man is going to split into two, with one going cosmic starting in 2025, well, September of this year. No, thank you. I don't want Cosmic Spider-Man. Do you guys want Cosmic Spider-Man?
No.
We already had it once, and it sucked.
I like
Spider-Man
my
Unlimited?
Spider-Man to remain friendly and neighborly.
Yeah, we had the spider. We had Peter Parker go to Counter Earth with the High Evolutionary in that short-lived Spider-Man Unlimited cartoon, I think.
Yep, from 99.
99, yeah. And then I do know like there was something where he got cosmic powers for a short period, right?
He did have the power
late 80s.
cosmic very briefly,
Yeah.
but then he gave it up. Yeah.
It was it's an okay-ish, a couple series of books. Like, it's through all the titles. He fights the Hulk. I think he loses his power and then has to fight Magneto, and he doesn't really know what to do. Or maybe he still has a... Eric Larson drew the book. I can't remember everything. I'm not an encyclopedia. I read this shit like once or twice, honestly. It sounds like I sit and study the minutiae of these books. If anything, I will look up the artwork and just kind of study the panels or the anatomy and see how people do it differently. Darian217 says, so Script, you're telling us you've seen Florence Pugh's boobs up close and bare. And then he has a button request. Well, here's the button for the Florence Pugh breasticles.
Well, if you ever watched Oppenheimer, you definitely see them up close and personal, especially in theaters. And if you were in my theater, you heard my girlfriend and her friends mocking those breasts for about 30 minutes afterwards. In such a horrific and cruel way, some of which I can't even repeat.
It's
Oh, wow.
okay if another lady does it because it's not sexist. It's just funny.
Yep. Like one of the comments I heard was, "Were those tattooed on because they don't look like they're coming out the way they're supposed to?"
Like, I saw some clip of Florence Pugh doing the special effects from the Thunderbolts, and I just thought of you being like, and those disappointing boobs, and I laughed. You ruined it for me. If I ever meet her in public, I'm just gonna like smile and then try not to laugh.
Remember, I think she's still dating Zach Braff, which is all you need to know about him.
He's a weirdo, and you know, if people are married or dating, whatever, hey, that's cool. I'm not involved with that. But also, too, if Florence Pugh was available, she would not be an actress I'm like going for. It's like, oh yeah, I can have any actress I want. It wouldn't be Florence Pugh. I don't even know who I'd pick anymore.
She has a midsection that reminds me of a tree trunk too. Like that doesn't help.
Well, it works for Russians, you know.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like,
I mean, I don't know.
I
I've seen some Russian women in person, and then I've also seen some of the crazy stunts they do on social media. A lot of Russian women have an hourglass figure, which I was like, wow, you're built. And I also like the fact that they're like calling out other people for being like wimps for not wanting to do like crazy stunts like tightrope walk across 2 buildings just on a whim. I've seen some of those crazy like Russian social media videos, especially the dash cams. Those are funny.
Dude, I have watched so many Russian dash cams because those people can't drive. Just flat out. I don't care if I sound offensive. These people can't drive for shit.
They can't drive, and when they do get into an accident, they start fighting with each other. One guy pulling a hatchet out of the trunk, and another guy with a baseball bat that's already got nails in it.
Oh my god!
I think the funniest one was when that comet struck Russia and it went across the stride. Not a single driver even gave it a second thought because it was considered tame compared to what they do with each other.
I don't know how a whole nation of people can be such bad drivers. They've had cars for decades and decades. Like, it's not a new invention.
I think they just don't care because anywhere they have to go, it's such a long distance to get to.
Oh, yeah. I never really think about the square mileage of Russia.
Yeah, biggest
Kinda
country
large.
in the world. Like Siberia fits inside of Russia because it's a region, not an actual country. Russia is.
I love in movies where like we're gonna send you to Siberia as punishment. You're like, oh shit. Oh, Debbie Harry was the hottest woman of the '80s, says Clone Geek. Yeah, I'm inclined to believe that though. Ooh, Videodrome Daddy. I gotta stop. It's gonna get weird. Enrique says, "Damn it, Jeff! You honey dicked us with Friday the 13th last week." Oh, you mean the live show? It said it was what it was rebroadcasting from, so I did tell you. But I'm glad you watched it again. I would laugh if anybody's like, yeah, I watched that live with you guys on Friday. It's like, man, Friday night, what was I even doing? I don't even know. Probably. I found this old show to watch called The White Shadow. It's from the 70s. Have you guys ever heard of it?
That sounds so familiar.
It's about a former NBA star who hurts his knee and becomes a basketball coach at a black high school in Los Angeles. And I thought it was going to be like preachy and whatever, and it's like really, really funny. And so when I'm not working on stuff, I've been watching The White Shadow. So I forgot what I was doing on Friday unless I was watching The White Shadow. RJ McCready, one thing. Guys, I'm on camera in that. I don't have my collection. That was filmed so long ago that the walls were barren in this place. It was just a beige wall. Now it's,
populated.
Yeah, I'm literally pointing like you guys could see me. I turned around, I'm like, there it is. Look at Wolverine. No, you can't because I'm not.
Yeah, no, I'm the only schmuck on camera tonight.
Yeah, I'll be back on Thursday. It just, like I said, I got people coming in from 2 parts of the country, so I'm trying to get things worked out here. Making videos, making comic book pages, still taking care of business, and I'm going out of town for a new business. So, hey, life's good. I got to just keep on rolling. I can't complain about shit. I'm happy. And folks, thank you for joining us tonight. It's been a lot of fun. I'm glad that people are loving these streams. Thank you guys for supporting us the way you do. It keeps the lights on, and it helps us do more. Like I said, if you're a patron, Nick and I went to Astoria, Oregon. We have 3 mini documentaries coming your way: The Goonies, The Last Blockbuster, and The Shining Hotel. The Shining Hotel is going to come out a little closer to Halloween, unless something with like Jack Nicholson comes to light, like some news or something. Then we might put that a little early to, talk about it in the zeitgeist. But we have a lot of exciting stuff coming. And folks, you can be involved with this show. We have always had it that patrons and members of the channel can come on. We can do live streams. We're going to do bracket battles for you guys so you guys can get involved. So if you're a member, it doesn't matter how long you've been a member. We appreciate you guys. We'll have that for you in the coming months. Hello to Lego Liam 803. Welcome in. John Joseph has seen The White Shadows. There you go, or The White Shadows. So cool. Somebody else knows. It's all on YouTube, guys. So if you're looking for something to watch, the music's a little funky, but it's a damn fine show.
Cool.
Anything else you guys want to say before we go for the midnight hour? Because I have to take a very early morning drive into the city.
Yeah, set my coffee maker for my own early morning.
Yeah, me too. I'm going downtown Toronto, so see how many roads are going to close off for a little short production.
Roads,
so, yeah.
where we're going, we don't need roads.
Yeah. It's going to inconvenience a lot of people for about 30 minutes until they start seeing what we do, and then they're just going to be gawkers, which always happens every time. They just
stand around with the phones.
Yeah, which we don't mind. Go ahead. More coverage for us. We'll just pull it off of social media and use it. I'm kidding. We don't do that.
But you should.
No. I'm psyched for July. Looks like we're gonna have a pretty interesting month. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, movie wise. So
it's an okay song too.
Yeah.
I'm not a Meatloaf fan. Yeah, I'm excited for July as well. 2025 has been a pretty solid year. It's not a time where people can say everything's woke or this or that. Like, folks, I am going to talk about Ironheart. I already have a title for the series. It's called, I wrote it down, you can hear the paper, Black Girl Magic. The Black Girl Magic of Ironheart. It's going to be the Black Girl Magic of Ironheart week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that is going to be how I address that show. It looks so cringy. I can't wait to laugh at something. So I don't know how it'll work next week. I'm not trying to turn next week's show into an Ironheart review. It's going to be a normal show, but I'd like to have at least seen it so I can comment on it. But I will have... it's going to be terrible like The Acolyte, but you guys seem to like the summer series that we make fun of, so we're going to have some fun at this show's expense. And
I mean, the fact that they cast a black guy to play the Hood is not really huge in the awareness area.
But script, it's from Ryan Coogler, the producer or the director of Sinners and Get Out, or no, not Get Out, Black Panther. I'm mistaking him for Jordan Peele. Come on now, man. It's a win. It's a win.
Hell, it's got to be, right?
It's Ryan Coogler. Like, look, no, you can. There is no director that you can say, hey, it's X, Y, and Z. Like, unless it's Richard Donner coming back from the grave, no director is going to get me to watch a show just on their name. The quality of the product has to supersede that. So, I don't know, folks. We're going to have some fun. But anything else you guys want to say before we go? Because this baby is ready to go to bed.
Likewise, I've had a blast as always with you guys and with all of you out there in the chat.
So, folks, thank you. Shout out to everybody who joined us tonight. Shout out to John Joseph for knowing who the White Shadow is. You win the WCBS Awareness Award of the Week. So take that, wear that badge with pride, go out, tell everyone that you know what the White Shadow is and that you have world-class entertainment. Yes, Overkill, I've seen Seattle Drivers. Portland Drivers aren't much better. So until next time, folks, thank you for watching. Be smart, be safe, be cool, but always be excellent to each other.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's me, Austin! Oh, son of a bitch!
Oh, I didn't hit end. Shit.